Freaking out, man. You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. What do all men with power want? More power.
My name is Gianluca Zanna. I was an Italian by birth, and I became an American by choice. Our lives and freedoms are in danger. This is not a dream. If you're listening to this broadcasting, you are the resistance.
All systems go.
Welcome to Love, Guns, and Freedom. Here we go, another Sunday, another show. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom on KTOX 1340 AM and on United States.FM network. This is your host, Luca Zanna, the guy with the accent. Yes, I can't believe it that I'm on the radio, seriously. And I want to thank again, Mr. Dave Ace, as much as we disagree on many issues, the former owner of the radio, because I never thought in my mind to go on the air. But, when I got this opportunity, I didn't do it because I have nothing better to do. My time is already short, and my life is pretty much fulfilled. I do things I like, and I have so much things going on, really. I don't have time. But when I thought about it, this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to share information, vital information, to try to wake up my fellow human beings, not just Americans, because this show, I know it's listened also on the internet from all over the world, and it's growing, and I'm very humbled, and I'm very thankful for all of you to put up with me, with my limitations, at the same time to try to listen to this message of desperation. And I'm seriously, I'm not here to try to be right. I hope everything I'm saying is wrong. I wish. But I have the urgency to share this information, and we'll talk about different topics. We go to what happened to our Constitution, to our Bill of Rights, to our individual rights, to this republic. We are under tyranny, to all the different things we know about food and the way they're trying to control our school system, and so many other topics. This is the first hour of Love, Guns, and Freedom. It's about our rights. What is the most important right we have? First of all, in my opinion, it's the control of our body. It's our health. The opportunity to live as a free human beings on a planet that the government is accountable to our own actions. It doesn't use secrecy to manipulate the weather or to control plants and to make experiment on us like lab rats. Where am I going to? I'm going that, this is not the first time I've been bringing this topic. I'm very passionate about it. It's called weather modification, geo-engineering. I've been bringing several guests, all people that have been dedicated their life about this, and also politicians. Try to listen, good luck. But more important, I'm trying to share information. And today I bring a special guest, probably the man who, with his work, the first documentary, really professionally well done, What in the World Are They Spraying? This gentleman, he was the person that pretty much was able to articulate for me after, I was already pretty much disturbed by the last 10 years. I've been watching these these airplanes crisscrossing in this very strange pattern above my sky here in Mojave County, but I did not understand that this was a bigger plan, part of a bigger global plan, of a bigger conspiracy. So the name of my guest is Michael Murphy. Michael, are you there?
I am, Luca, and thanks for having me on, and thanks again for covering this issue. I know you've been very active in northern Arizona with getting blood tests and doing a number of other things, so we thank you for that. But thanks again for bringing light to this.
We're all together in this one, seriously. Normally I don't like this phrase, we're all together. This is the situation we really are all together, because we all breathe the same air, and we all pretty much use the same planet. And when I see that at the beginning, honestly, when almost 8 years ago or so, 9 years ago, I started to discover this phenomenon, this program, secret program at the time, called weather modification or geoengineering, also called chemtrails in slang. I tried to fight a little bit. I couldn't believe it. Hard to believe something so big can happen. But then I pretty much, I want to use my logic and the evidence. And I realized this is one of the biggest dangers we are facing as human beings for many reasons that I want to articulate with you. And I want to thank you for putting up the great documentary, What in the World Is Spraying, because it was very well professionally done with a lot of information. And you have also other work that you've done after that. We'll talk about that. Before we start, I would like to ask you, I want to make a case here today. The case to the listeners, who are not still convinced that there is this phenomenon, this program called weather modification. And more important, this program exists and also is dangerous to us. And you're going to help me out, hopefully, with facts and your articulate mind to try to bring evidence and facts. I don't want to preach to the choirs. People already know who you are. That's great. Buy another DVD, share it. I want to reach out people that they are in denial and they want to learn. So I give you the floor. Let's talk a little bit about you and your first work you did. What in the world is spraying, the DVD? Tell me a little bit about how did you come out with this idea and what is the point here? Are these chemtrails / geoengineering real, and how can we prove it?
Well, there are a lot. I mean, there's thousands of documents of proof, but I became interested actually when I was living in Arizona, and when I moved there in the late 80s, our skies were a deep blue, rarely had a blemish in it, and it was like that, probably 340 some odd days a month.
Yes.
I had moved away for a couple of years and returned, and noticed that our skies were hazy. They had what appeared to be high clouds about 4 or 5 days a week. I knew something was happening, wasn't really aware of it. It wasn't until somebody pointed out a big trail behind an airplane. They said, watch this trail. It will spread out and turn into the high clouds that you're seeing. They informed me this was the issue called chemtrails. So I got interested in it, started researching it, made a quick video, which didn't have a lot of facts in it. But when I really got interested in it, it was at a geoengineering conference in San Diego in 2010. And for several days, we heard geoengineer scientists talking about their plans to put 10 to 20 million tons of toxic aluminum oxide and other chemicals into our sky for what they said was the stated goal of cooling our planet. And the idea of geoengineering is basically putting a reflective material, chemical layer, artificial clouds into our sky, which in turn would reflect the sunlight back into space. And the theory is that it would cool the planet. We now have studies that indicate that it will actually warm the planet because those aerosols actually act as a blanket, so they trap heat. We've seen nighttime highs come up, but we can talk a little more about that later. So it became very apparent that, something was going on in our skies. So from that point, we released information, and people started sending me plane tickets to come and investigate. So we spoke with scientists who were collecting rain samples, finding the primary ingredients of geoengineering programs, which is aluminum, barium, strontium. In some cases, we've seen those numbers escalate in about a 6-year period by 50,000 percentage points, very high. These metals, they match what geoengineers deny they're spraying, but state they urgently want to. They match a number of geoengineering patents that actually devices to disperse this from airplanes and by other methods into our sky, actually dispersing these various chemicals. What we see in the sky, it matches what geoengineers state they want to do, is disperse aerosols, making artificial clouds from airplanes. So the dots connect. All of the consequences associated with geoengineering, we're seeing that. We're seeing aluminum illnesses increase, by several percentage points. We're seeing pH changes in our soil, droughts in certain areas, floods in other areas. The dots connect, and, Luca, we could probably go on for about 4 hours.
Yes, and this is my point. There is a point that if people are serious and they are not afraid of the truth, and they really want to go down this journey, I call it a journey, once you go down the rabbit hole, it's up to you when you want to stop. It's all out there. And for example, if you go to lovegunsfreedom.com, I have a blog section, and I will post these links again, okay? Pretty much we have links directly from the Senate committee from 1975, talking about 700 pages or more, talking about the dangers of weather modification plans. And we're talking about pieces of legislations. There is so much out there. The point is, if you are a person that doesn't want to believe, or you want to hide behind the finger, that's fine. But if you want to bring out evidence, we have it out there. Now, my point is, this stuff is serious. I don't care if they're doing it for a good reason or not. First of all, we should be informed as a people. Number one, we should decide if we want to be poisoned or not, and that's being sarcastic. And then, more important, we're talking about metals, chemicals in the sky released by humongous quantities that they are pretty much, we are not made of metals, we are human beings, and so the animals. So this is something that's influencing our health. are these people completely crazy? I mean, my first question I want to play with you like a devil's advocate, because many people say, hey, that can be possible, even these controllers or these government people, they live here with us. They can do that. So how do you answer to that? Because I got my answer, but you tell me yours.
Well, it's clearly sociopathic, psychopathic behavior. And as we released Why in the World Are They Spraying, we're now working on a third film, An Unconventional Shade of Gray, just released the trailer. But these programs do a lot more than change the temperature of our planet. And one of the things that geoengineers talk about, because geoengineering programs do change our weather patterns, they do change precipitation, they state that they will have to control the weather. Now, it's obvious to those of us who've been watching this, who've been watching jet streams, talking to the meteorologists who are aware of this, weather control has been ongoing for several years. And when I first heard that, Luke, I said, well, why would somebody want to control the weather? Well, looking into and in our investigation and why in the world are they spraying, it became very clear. Controlling the weather is a very effective way to consolidate both monetary and political power into the hands of a few at the expense of all life on Earth. So there are a number of layers of weather control and a number of different types of corporations and entities who are interested in this. And, the stock market or the mercantile exchange, weather derivatives are traded. The military interest of these programs has been ongoing since before the Vietnam War. They actually used weather control in a program in the Vietnam War called Project Popeye, where the U.S. government actually flooded out the Ho Chi Minh Trail. That was the main supply line of the Vietnamese. So it gives certain militaries a battlefield advantage. So if you can create conditions where, you cripple your enemy before, they're able to, before you invade them or really create different types of battlefield advantages, weather control is very effective. If you look at the Iraq War, before the U.S. invaded, there were incredible sandstorms that crippled the Iraqi army. So it appears that they have been used there. We look at various agriculture agendas associated with these programs. These programs can create droughts in certain areas, floods in other areas, wiping out crops, also creating what's called abiotic stress. Abiotic stress is something that stresses our soil. So we've seen a number of organic crops starting to fail, and many of them, in fact, have failed. As a result, Monsanto has developed a new abiotic stress-resistant genetically modified seed that will grow in this new environment. But we also look at some of the things right now that are going on in California. Right off of the coast of California, we have this polar vortex. It's an artificial high-pressure system. I've spoken to a number of meteorologists, and what it's doing is pushing our jet stream up north into the Arctic region. Of course, the natural rebound effect brings all of this cold weather, brings warm weather into the Arctic, all of the cold weather down into the Midwest, East Coast. As a result, we've had very dry conditions in California because all of the moisture that should be going into that region, again, is going up to the Arctic region, warming the Arctic, warming the ice up in that area, and we'll talk about this in a minute. But we looked at some of the dynamics in California and what's going on with the drought, and we covered that in an unconventional shade of gray. That's something that we will be releasing in the next film. It's associated with Agenda 21, and essentially Agenda 21 is the corporatization of natural systems. It has to do with land grabs, and it has to do with the excuse, because there's a shortage of water, of who gets water, who it's allocated to. And right now, they're utilizing this drought to strip away water rights from farmers who have had rights for generations, giving it to the corporate interests, but they're also making water the next oil. So,
exactly.
They are taxing the individuals, residents of California, who only use 15% of California's water supply. They're dramatically increasing their price, and it's about enslavement. It's about taking away rights, taking away freedoms. It's about the corporatization of all of our natural systems. They're using weather control to bring this forth. And I think I went over these very quickly. But I hope that made sense.
You did great. And let me, 1 second, just make it even simpler, okay? Because this is so important. This is not just about, let's save the environment. Yes, the environment, by the way, it's important because we live and breathe here, okay? But it is about freedom. It's about freedom. As you said, a magic word. They can create the cause. They can create the crisis, and they will give you the solution, and the solution is complete control and tyranny. Agenda 21 is being implemented right now in California. And you're right. These plants of weather modification, they are very old, at least 40 years old, before the Vietnam War. I mean, I've been talking myself on the phone with a company directly from, I think, South Dakota. It's Weather Modification, Inc. Since the 1960s, this company has been one of the biggest companies. They have, they can operate, they can modify the weather, they can give you rain on demand. Think about it. This technology is very old. And now you tell me that in California they cannot get some water going there? It's been all created by design to create a crisis, to pretty much put us in submission of Agenda 21, global tyranny. That's why I wanted to bring back today this on the show. This is not just about chemical spray in the sky, people you want to believe or not. This is about science. It's being used to manipulate geopolitically, socioeconomically, our society, us as a free human beings. This is about freedom today, before even we died, of course, because we're going to be dead. So it's so important, your work. I wanted to bring you in because you cannot go out there and articulate these facts unless you have information. As I say in every show, the first weapon we must have is information. And then we must be able to admit that we have a problem so we can fix the problem. Until you don't admit it, you still want to live out there that everything is fine, and we're still living in Kansas. This is not Kansas anymore. We are living under 1984 on steroids. So, continue. First of all, how can people get your DVDs? Because I said before even we talk, let's get your work. I know you got it for free on the internet, but you know what? You pay bills, and this stuff costs to produce. How can people support you? You have a website? How can they buy it?
Yeah, thanks for asking. And it's really important. We encourage everybody who orders the DVD to make copies and hand out for free. Why in the world are they spraying? 14 awards. It won. I've traveled all around the world with it. That is at www.whyintheworldaretheyspraying.com. Go there for your DVD. And then we need support for the next film, and I'd like to talk about some of the topics because it has to do directly with freedom, the sovereignty of the United States and the rest of the world. And that film, you can pre-order a DVD that will help us to produce or become a funding angel that will give us the necessary funding to get this message. It's a call to action film to get these problems stopped so we address the geopolitical implications and the legal implications of global warming and how it relates to the issue of geoengineering. So go to unconventionalgray.com, www.unconventionalgray.com, find out how you can be support of this very important project. But Luca, you said, I think that the key word, and that's the loss of freedoms. And many people are not aware of what's going on geopolitically. But in December, there is a France climate meeting, and it's what they're expecting to do is sign on with most nations around the world into a global climate agreement. And what this will do, if passed, it's based on this idea that CO2 is creating global warming. So they're going in and they are planning on circumventing our Constitution, allowing an unelected body, the IPCC, to micromanage our lives, to put mandates and dictate the way that we live in our home. And I think you're probably unaware of that. In the way that geoengineering links into this global warming issue, because geoengineering, its stated goal is to change our climate, manipulate our weather, and change our planet's temperature. And because these programs have been ongoing for several years, and they are not included in any climate models that are being used to bring forth these mandates, it is all climate models that are missing this big elephant in the room are flawed by those who are not aware, but by those who know about geoengineering programs, and they know that they change our planet's temperature, they're literally fraudulent. So what they're doing, they're changing our climate, no question about it, by geoengineering programs, blaming it on CO2 because we all have a CO2 footprint. They are using that as an excuse to bring in global governance, circumventing our Constitution, taking away our freedoms, transferring trillions of dollars of wealth into the hands of the few at the expense of everyone. And, you know, a lot of people are concerned because what they're planning on doing is forming a global carbon dictatorship where most of society lives in slave-like conditions, and it's directly linked to the geoengineering issue. That's what we're bringing to the forefront, how this relates to our freedom and our future, because geoengineers, scientists, governments are moving very quickly, both legislatively and legally. So I am getting people together to address this legislatively and legally. We're going to, me and about 6 other activists are going to France this July, where the precursor to this meeting will be, and we will find out exactly what their plans are and what they're trying to do. But again,
perfect.
Geoengineering is the key element in the global warming. And if anybody is aware of geoengineering and they're still supporting the global warming agenda, it is so damaging to what we're trying to do. Because when you support the global warming agenda, you support the legalization of geoengineering. And if this treaty goes through in December, it most likely will legalize geoengineering and without question make it impossible for us to take legal action and legislative action. So if you support global warming, you're supporting being sprayed, bottom line.
I completely agree with you, Michael. I came to the same conclusion. First of all, I'm very aware of the scam, okay? This global warming is being completely proven already, the fraudulent emails that many, it's like eco-fascism, okay? They pretty much try to buy out a bunch of scientists, and whoever doesn't want to agree with them is pretty much being ostracized and also completely threatened, and this is a part of creating a problem, creating a crisis, and then they give you the solution. And I agree with you. Now that finally, these programs start to come out, they're trying to justify it because we are in global warming. They are creating the global warming. You're right. It's being created through these programs. And I agree with you. Global warming, in my opinion, is a scam. And, CO2, it's part of life. Without CO2, we wouldn't have the plants need CO2. The environment thrives under CO2. Don't get me wrong. There is a way that we need to understand that there is pollution and CO2. They are two different things. But now they make it look the fact that we breathe or cows just farting we are part of the problem. This is insanity. That's why they will use everything they can to try to force us into this religion cult. And I'm glad that you are completely aware of that and you came to the same analysis that I came. I really believe.
I don't argue whether the planet's warming or cooling, and anybody that does is creating. We've seen this issue come into the movement by other people, and it's completely divided. Now the whole movement's arguing whether the planet's warming or cooling, and I don't even argue that. Because what cannot be argued is this: the fact that geoengineering changes our planet's temperature. These programs have been ongoing. They are not in any climate models. It is impossible to determine what the planet is doing in terms of temperature. So nobody, I don't care what data you come up with, it is not conclusive until these programs stop. And
Exactly.
I take the middle of the road. It's safe, and it's not arguable. Nobody has been able to tell me how we can prove what the planet's doing with ongoing geoengineering programs.
And this is my point
and
now.
We believe that based on this premise, I'm moving forward with the class action lawsuit, so people can go to geoengineeringactionnetwork.org, and we are going to attempt to recoup the losses and damages that people have had due to climate change mandates. Many have gone into effect in California. There's already been, I believe, billions of dollars, if it's that high yet, in taxes and other damages to people. Cap and trade has gone into effect in California, and it's based on a flawed model. So we believe that that's the best arguing point, and we can bring geoengineering into the equation, not only gaining more knowledge and getting more exposure to geoengineering, but utilizing it in a court of law, proving that geoengineering is happening and demanding that it stops. And I think that we can do this. I've been speaking to attorneys about it.
This is great. This is very important news because, it's time to go proactive and on the attack. We can talk about this all day long. There's a moment that we need to show that we are now coming after you. And I agree with you, at this point, if people believe that global warming is real because evil humans, they are farting, or evil humans, we are breathing too much, let's put this difference for a moment on the side. Let's focus now on stopping this reality called geoengineering, weather modification. We need to stop the enemy first, and then we can sort it out between us. But the point is true. I refuse to pay a carbon tax to any of these bastards, because this is like the time of, of the Pope under Pope Borgia in the 1600, whenever it was, if you pay your fee to the church, to the Pope, you will go to heaven. Now, you tell me, how does it work that if I pay a carbon tax, I'm going to save the planet? This is insanity.
Yes, it is, and it definitely is a huge transfer of monetary and political wealth, into the hands of a few. And, the thing that we covered on An Unconventional Shade of Gray, the trailer that was just released last week, a lot of people say, the oil companies, are behind climate change denial or global warming denial. We spoke with a commodities trader about this very fact, and he stated, with the oil companies, first of all, they have several different ways to hedge their risk in terms of losses. So they have many ways that they could overcome the losses. Plus, they have an abundant money supply. They have enough money where they can foresee future trends and invest in future trends. So not only would it hurt them, it's not going to hurt them, but it opens up the door to invest in new types of energy. It's literally a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity for the oil companies. So they are not promoting concern or fear, within the climate change. They're looking forward to these mandates because they absolutely profit from these programs. And so what we have to do is look at what it's doing and what this whole climate change agenda is about. It's about Agenda 21. It's about forming world government, erasing the sovereignty of all states, all nations, including Native American nations that sign on to this. There are over 500 climate laws scheduled to go into effect in 66 countries this year in 2015. And again, it's based on flawed and fraudulent models that are missing the biggest climate forcer, which is geoengineering. And people are buying into this because they see that our weather's changing. They see that our temperatures are changing. And only 8 to 10% of the population is aware of geoengineering. So 90% of the people have no idea this is going on.
Michael,
and they're likely to buy into the CO2 lie. And again, I'm not arguing CO2. I'm not even going to go there.
Yes.
What I'm stating and demanding is that geoengineering stops immediately before we even have these discussions. And once these programs are stopped, let's say for maybe 5 years, then we can start to make an accurate prediction in terms of what the planet's doing. But until then, it's utter foolishness, and it's corporatism, it's the loss of our freedoms, loss of life on the planet, depopulation, and my God, who I serve, does not stand for these things, period.
Good. I'm so glad. You explained it out perfectly, and this is exactly, I tell you, normally, I always say, I bring guests here, and I don't agree on everything. We try to find common ground. On this one, I agree with you 100%, 100. You got exactly, I'm just a regular guy, probably I don't spend enough time like you did on this course. I try to learn as much as I can. But I came to the same conclusion the last 10 years. This is exactly the reason why they created it. And meanwhile, let's not forget, we are like cows. Before they put us to the slaughterhouse, they're going to milk us to death. Not just, economically, because the idea that we have to pay carbon taxes just because we breathe or we exist. That's scary to think. Even the time of the feudalism, at the time of the Middle Ages, the slaves, they weren't treated like that. But my point now, think about it also as in the medical, in the big pharma mafia, all the problems that we're going to have as consequences of breathing this garbage falling down from the sky. We're going to go through different problems now. I know aluminum is very big cause of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. This stuff is skyrocketing in every community now. We're talking about respiratory problems, heart problems. So, meanwhile, what happens? All the roads lead to Rome. There is more than just one cui bono into this. We're also going to finance and support more and more the big pharma, because they're making money. You were saying something very important before, Monsanto. I grow my own food, and I did a little experiment myself, Michael. I bought, 2 different zucchini seeds. One is the regular heirloom organic zucchini, and I brought another one is from GMO. Okay, I don't need them. I wanted to do an experiment. Same dirt, I put them in vases, same water, same environment, and under the same sky, of course, here in Mojave County. And the zucchini, the organic zucchini, all I have now is just the flower, no fruit. But the GMO, you got a big, huge zucchini that they look almost funny how big they are. So that's my point. Monsanto had also a patent about aluminum-resistant seeds. So this is all part of different angles, the way they're trying to put us in this stage. Meanwhile, I want to say, everybody, there is something we can do right now. we can talk all day long, and that's fine. We want to learn, but it is the best way. We need to support this work. Michael Murphy, in my opinion, has been doing an excellent job the last 10 years at least with this information out. And, these productions needs money. This stuff doesn't come from the government. It's still your tax dollar. It comes from regular people like us that we can finance. I just bought myself a copy of this movie that is coming, this documentary, An Unconventional Shade of Gray. I will post a link directly on my site, lovegunsfreedom.com, on today's show. Permanent link where you can go straight there and buy directly the DVD. But go directly if you want to Unconventional Gray, GREY.com, and pre-order a DVD for $20, please.
Yeah, very important. And also, you can go to the website and see the new funding trailer that we released. Has some very important points. Of course, we couldn't put in much. I could have made a trailer for 20 minutes long, and told the story. But, for any trailer, you want to keep it short to obtain attention from people so that they comprehend what's going on. So, this, I feel, is definitely the next stage of our activism. We woke millions of people up, around the world. And as a result now, not that waking up is a bad thing. However, only waking people up is not going to get these programs stopped. And we have to look at where our opposition, the corporations, politicians, and scientists, where they're going. And what they're doing is they're using laws. They're addressing this legally and legislatively. And if we are handing out flyers while this climate treaty passes, geoengineering is legalized, and then we don't have an opportunity to move forward legally and legislatively, I think that we missed the boat on this one. So the global warming issue, although I didn't address it before because I knew it would create division within the movement if I took a side, whether it was warming or cooling, so I never did that. But now we don't even argue that. We take the center ground, and what is inarguable is the fact that, again, you cannot determine whether the planet's warming or cooling because geoengineering programs have been ongoing for several years. And because of that, we have a very strong class action lawsuit, which in turn will get an injunctive relief in terms of exploration into geoengineering. We believe that will enable us to conclusively prove this. And also, in an unconventional shade of gray, we're going to take an airplane up and we're going to test what are called chem bombs. So we don't only have the trails over the Pacific. As you know, I live on Maui, Hawaii part-time of the year, and we don't see trails there very often, but we do get saturated with aerosols. And what they're doing, we've looked at satellites, but we've also seen them visually with our eyes, dispersing aerosols from boats, and it's called albedo cloud whitening. And what they do is they use various technologies to form unnatural clouds from ships, and they're putting them into the sky. So we're going to take an airplane, fly into this chemical plume, take a sample, and then test it. And we're pretty confident that we're going to find the geoengineering ingredients in there. And this is very important because what it will do, Luca, our scientific community, our government officials, their plausible deniability has been what we're seeing in the sky is not from geoengineering, but it's simply natural condensation trails which occur behind airplanes. Well, we know better than that. However, this will remove that plausible deniability, and it will bring the movement, when we get enough funding, to the next level. And many people have asked me, for years, why don't you take a plane up and test this? Well, I have a capture device, I have a pilot, and I have an airplane. What I'm waiting for is the necessary funding to come through. I've been waiting for several years. I have everything in order, but we do need a little bit of funding. So, again, go to unconventionalgrade.com, help support this project, and we will bring you the information that's needed to move forward in stopping these programs.
Now, I have a couple questions for you. First of all, you mentioned the word, politicians, and I have my own experience. I am shocked. I had politicians in the state of Arizona, and I'll mention names. I'm not afraid to say things because this is on the open. My allegiance is to the truth. I have no allegiance to anybody but the truth. For example, Representative Arizona State Representative Sonny Borrelli. I brought him on the show last year, 2 hours, with Rosalind Peterson, an expert in the weather modification from California. And Sonny Borrelli is a state rep and has been reelected. It was before the election. And he learned, he listened, he was surprised, he was shocked. He was really surprised because he's been also in the Marine Corps for 20 years. He knows about Agent Orange and all the different things and all the different declassified experiments that the U.S. government did on population, on civilians without our consent. So he's not a stupid idiot. He knows. Guess what? He tell me, oh, look, I'll do everything I can, and then he disappear. And then he tell me, oh, I need to do this behind the scene. Oh, I cannot go out. They're going to try to put me out. It's like a fear. Something like, seriously, what's going on? There is the only politician that unfortunately was on their way out, and she's a good friend, a former state senator from Arizona, Karen Johnson, was the only one to pretty much scream out of her lungs denouncing weather modification. I don't know anybody else out there. What's going on? Why do you think that?
Well, our political system largely, there are some good politicians. We interviewed Cynthia McKinney, former congressional member and Green Party presidential candidate.
Yeah.
Very open and candid about these programs. We pray that she gets back into the political scene. A lot of people are encouraging her to do that. We'll see, what she decides to do. But so there are a couple politicians who are addressing this, but largely our political system is based on money and power. Mm-hmm. And people get into office for money and power and to represent the corporate interests, not the people. And that's the system that we have today. And it's very challenging to get elected if you do not represent the corporate interests because of money and a lot of other pressures. So, Luca, I think because this issue is political, it's time to start contacting our members of Congress, our senators, letting them say no to any climate mandates, any climate-related legislation, because geoengineering programs are ongoing. And that's what we have to do. We cannot let this global climate treaty go through because it has serious implications, monetary, political, ecological, and really everything that we live for. It's a war on humanity, and they're using this issue of climate change and global warming to bring about these changes, both political, monetary changes into our lives. And we're looking at most of our freedoms being taken away, most of our income being taken away, most of what we love and care for based on fraudulent and flawed models that are missing geoengineering.
Michael, I believe that most of our politicians, they're very well aware, they're not naive about this weather modification. I remember there was, in 2001, former Congressman Kucinich tried to put out a bill, to sponsor a bill that pretty much spelled it out. We wanted to try to stop these sophisticated exotic weapons, and among those, chemtrails. And, of course, the Pentagon told them to shut up, don't you dare to do this anymore. And this fear, for many reasons, as you said, probably is also economic. They're not going to get the support from corporations. Also, I believe there is something deeper. My point is, at this point, I don't care, because it's millions of us, and we need to reach critical mass to be informed and start to storm out peacefully the congressman office. People can fill up a stadium. I don't watch football, but I know that people can go to a football stadium, and 50,000 people can fill it up in a few hours. We need to get a type of numbers and put it in front of the congressman office and everybody with the evidence and say, now, you shut up and listen to us. And we're not going to take this stupid answer like treating us like a child anymore. We know this is true. And you better start to go back to Washington, open your mouth, and start to say wherever I think is in charge, the military-industrial complex or wherever other people can be behind, this is time to knock it off. Simple as that. I don't believe anymore there is any more other thing to do but go follow. Every legislator goes to these public meetings. We need to bring evidence, and we don't accept anymore this sort of, they try to look us down like we are crazy. Now they are the crazy. We have eyes, we have a brain, and we can think, and we can see. So I really believe your video can help us out so much, because you bring there all facts, evidence, names, documents that we must be aware when we go to debate these bastards, because they will try to deny us and talk like a lawyer, and we need to bring facts back instead of just double talk. Now, another thing I wanted to say to you, your video is being watched by millions of people. In your opinion, how many viewers watch all your three different works all the work you've done so far? The two main documentaries, What in the World They're Spraying and Why They're Spraying, all over the world. How many people watch your documentaries?
We're not sure how many have watched because they've been posted on more than just YouTube. They've been posted on a number of platforms.
Approximately.
Several million. We estimate we're reaching about 2 million people per week. That was not only from the videos, though. That was through other forms, articles, and that was through a lot of radio shows and other things. So, they have served as a valuable platform to reach millions of people around the world. And bottom line is about 8 to 10%. I think it's probably about 10% of the global population is aware of geoengineering, which is over, well over 300 million people. So I believe a large percentage, of those people have probably come into contact some way. And I think our films have been a big part of that. But today it's not really about numbers, although, because I think we have the critical mass that we're needed, and we have the amount of people that are needed. If we all take action, those of us who are aware of this take action, we could have these programs stopped immediately.
Exactly. So, and this is my point. I always say education is the first step, but must be followed by action. You can know everything you want. You can be the most knowledgeable person of the world, but if you don't follow up with an action, and sometimes it's just even a phone call, to your congressman person, you must do something. Now, the reason why I told you, go ahead.
It has to be the right action.
Yes.
For instance, if your house is burning down and you throw gasoline on it, that's action, but guess what? It's going to make it worse.
You're right.
So we're not, we're looking at the right actions. The right action is looking at how geoengineering impacts our climate and is changing our climate. Because of that, you cannot pass the laws that will legalize it, period.
Exactly.
No global warming mandates. Say no to it.
I don't want to mention names, Michael.
We'll come back to the table. And that's the right way to stop this.
Michael,
no question about it.
I want to say something, Michael. I don't want to mention names, but, one thing I found very sad in the movement, I've been talking with several people. I'm very open and upfront. I think this is one of the most important things I can do, try to share awareness in every way I can about weather modification, geoengineering, / chemtrails. Now, when I start to talk, I've been talking with people that out of the blue, just because they found out that I do not agree on the global warming, and I don't believe that this is naturally caused, because I don't have enough evidence. All the evidence I have is the United Nations scam emails and the different proofs of fraud from the different scientists, and and also logic, by the way. But this is my opinion based on facts. They completely hate you. I mean, it's not even anymore about, okay, we are together. As you said, we try to find common ground. Let's stop the enemy, and then we can talk about our differences. After, as you said, we sit down, we settle down. Let's stop all this weather modification. Then we have data that we can really see if this global warming is real or not. Something very logical. I think, sometimes we need to have also a disagreement and be still logical and still be civil.
I think it's the old divide and conquer. So I saw this issue of global warming being brought into the movement, and I saw division. I saw the work that we had been doing for years getting divided. And I foresaw that. And, the people that brought it in, or some of the people, I had told them this is what's going to happen. They moved forward. So I believe that was brought in as in a deliberate attempt to slow us down, to create us divided. Now we're here to bring the movement back into alignment, to get everybody, no matter what side you're on, global warming, global cooling, nobody can disagree that geoengineering programs change our temperature, and you cannot come up with a conclusive temperature reading.
Perfect.
And therefore, you cannot pass mandates.
Perfect.
Nobody has been able to tell me, and I think that's the most prudent way to move forward without dividing the movement, getting people who have maybe had polarized beliefs on the same accord, marching together, and getting these programs stopped. We can argue all day while they pass this legislation, and the only thing it's going to do is stress us out and empower the people who are doing this to us. That's what division does.
I agree.
I'm here to bring it back.
I agree completely. I completely agree with this with you completely. And another thing I was saying, why I brought up that how many viewers you had the last few years, millions and millions, because the point is, Michael Murphy, you're a person of interest, I mean, you had the courage to pretty much do something, start something, even just a DVD, to put together work that now is changing the opinions and the life of many or millions of people. And the reason why, because there are consequences, and you are aware of that. Like I'm aware, even I do this, my Little Humble show, and other people around the world that try to do the Little Humble blog or whatever. We know that there are consequences, listeners. This is not a game. This is not a hobby. We are playing with the power structures, people that we are pretty much, they are investing trillions of dollars in the long terms. And more important, the final plan to completely control humanity. You think they would not snuff up or they wouldn't destroy your life if they could? Now maybe it's too late because you're already into the much of the center of the attention. The point is, this is a serious game. We are not talking about little stuff. This is worse than the mafia. Okay, governments are worse than the mafia because the mafia, at least you can shoot back. These bastards, they have a badge on them when they come to your door. Now, you know about Rosario Marciano from Italy. You ever heard about him?
Yes.
Tanker Enemy. You know, I have him in the next hour, the final hour, and the aspect I want to talk to him, in Italy, are differently from America. There is no Bill of Rights. Even, of course, here they try to destroy it. There is no freedom of speech. And Rosario and his brother and his family, his poor mom, they've been under judicial prosecution where they couldn't be able to buy him out, to buy out their, shut down their blog, tankerenemy.com. They pretty much started with the, defamation lawsuit. They are not just civil lawsuit. They also panel criminal action action that you have against him. And just because Rosario in Italy, since there is no freedom of speech, just because said something that, by the way, I believe that that scientist is spreading false information. Boom! You go in front of a judge, and now he's facing 5 years in jail just because of that saying. And you will see more. So the point is, this is a serious matter. How your life is being changed? I mean, did you have death threats or some sort of retribution here?
I've had a lot happen, including people trying to destroy my reputation. All kinds of things, character assassinations, just a lot of challenges. People stealing, money for a film that we're going to do. All kinds of challenges come in, and I think when you operate, in addressing something so important, I'm not sure if people, the jury's still out what the motives were behind the actions of people, but it's really not looking at the motives; it's looking at the actions. And I think certain energies sometimes work through people when you do this kind of work. But you know what? It's worth it, because what doesn't kill you makes you stronger and helps you grow, and it brings you to the next level. So all of these challenges, learning how to continue my work with zero funding, sometimes, not a car or anything, at times due to these damages that have been created, it has made me stronger, and it will allow me to move forward in addressing this in a very effective manner, in a very legalistic manner, and very strong. When you've had everything taken from you, there's not much to take, and you're not afraid of losing anything. So you get more concerned with the truth, with taking aggressive legal and political action, despite what the consequences might be. And I think I'm there. It's kind of like a fire that burnt, everything that really wasn't needed. So it's a good place to be in. Sometimes kind of painful to get there, but it's a place of strengthening. When you certain metals, you really have to put them through the fire to strengthen them and purify them. And I feel like that's what I've been through. So it's not a bad thing. It just doesn't feel real good. But the end result is, it's profitability in terms of what we can do for our work.
So listen, and one more time, that's why I'm saying this, guys, you don't have to do the work. Michael Murphy and other people like him, they've been doing it. They're putting their life out, the risk, the consequences, and also the work. I mean, we got to pay bills here, okay? And to produce a movie, a documentary, takes money, takes funding. And to put out, if we can just have to pay $20 that we can waste like that at a stupid coffee place, like in 5 minutes, we can have a product produced with love, with a lot of research that we can use to share this information, and we can influence, hundreds of people with that. And everybody asks, I like the idea, share the video, that's great, make copies, but at least you gotta buy one copy. Don't be a cheap bastard, because it really irritates the hell out of me when you think that people say, hey, I got it for free on the internet. Guess what? If you understand the gravity of this situation, you understand this is real, and you understand you want to share it, don't forget that this poor bastard behind the camera has to eat 3 times a day at least, and maybe he needs something to pay for his life here. So at least let's help him out to buy one copy. I don't say you have to buy 100 copies. When I could in the past, if I could buy 10 copies, I always there with everybody I can. Now, thanks to the new economy, it's even here getting tougher, but I try to do everything I can, and I want everybody today, the listener, at least buy a copy. One copy. Go to this website. And if you like the latest work, unconventionalgrade.com, try to get also Wide in the World is Praying, and also get also What in the World is Praying. Have all this trilogy. Get your friends, your family, lock the door, lock them up at your house, tell them that you got free burgers and free beer, and then you lock the windows, and now we watch the movie, and then we eat. You got to wake them up like this. That's what we did many times here at my place. I really needed to do this, especially when you had your DVDs out. It was so vital, and more important now, of course. Michael, I want to thank you a lot for everything. you're doing and you've been doing. And I want to give you the last 2 minutes, the floor before I change. I got to go prepare for the second hour. We will talk about, the show is called Love, Guns, and Freedom. This is the hour about freedom. Second hour, we'll talk today about guns and techniques and training. And, of course, then the final hour is going to be about love, the dramatic story of Rosario Marciano from Italy being prosecuted by the Italian legal system, and the government is risking now 5 years in jail just because he said to a scientist that he's spreading false information. Tell me whatever you want to say. You got 2 minutes, Michael.
Well, I just want to thank everybody who's aware of this issue, and if you're not aware of it, please watch the last award-winning film, Why in the World Are They Spraying? And you can order a copy. Please do it, whyintheworldarethayspraying.com. That helps fund our work and helps me address this every day, the income that comes in from it. But, we're really interested in the action aspect of this. So I want to recap some of the things that we're talking about and really get it directed towards the proper way to go. And again, action is very important, but it has to be the right action. So, I've seen a lot of people take action and perhaps set us back a little bit because they got anxious. Most people are good-hearted, but sometimes, we have to go move forward in the most prudent way. And again, just to recap that, what we've said, we have this issue of global warming, which is we have a global climate agreement, which they're expecting to pass in December. That will remove many of our rights, but including the sovereignty of the United States. It will remove the state sovereignty, country sovereignty, including Native American nations here and many nations around the world, allowing an unelected body, the IPCC, to micromanage our lives. We now have smart meters on our home that can measure, when you have your lights on and things. And if this climate agreement goes through, we will have these unelected people mandating the way that we live, and we all have a carbon output. So today you might be able to drive to the store 3 times in a week. However, you're going to have to reduce that carbon output unless you have money and you buy carbon credits.
Yeah.
If you buy carbon credits, if you have enough money, you might be able to maintain your normal life. But for the most of society, people who cannot afford it, you'll have to cut back on certain things. You will have to start taking public transportation, for instance, instead of driving. And those things, in theory, look like they might be good if you buy into this CO2 global warming issue. But again, there's no consensus in the scientific community, but they're passing mandates based on this idea that has not been proven. Then we can prove one thing that will knock this whole thing out of the ballpark. Because geoengineering changes our planet's temperature, you cannot prove that global warming is occurring or that global cooling is occurring. And you certainly cannot pass any mandates or form world government or take my money or my freedoms. My freedoms, my ancestors fought. They shed blood for this country. And I'm watching it be eroded away by these fraudulent and flawed models that do not include geoengineering. So, it's very simple. We demand that all climate mandates, talks, are rescinded immediately. Geoengineering programs are stopped for a period of such years. Then we'll determine really conclusively what the planet is doing. But again, we can't determine this. And I feel that this is the most important way to move forward, both legally and legislatively. I want to encourage everybody to start contacting your state reps, your members of Congress, and your senators, telling them not to support this global climate treaty because, again, if this passes, which they are certainly planning on doing it, it most likely will legalize geoengineering and most likely make it impossible for us to take legal action and legislative steps. Today we can do that, but our time frame for doing this is very short. So this is it's an emergency film, and I wish that I was aware of these climate mandates and some of the legislative aspects a little bit earlier, because we would have been able to start the film a little bit earlier and had a jump start on it. But my hope for this film, An Unconventional Shade of Gray, is that people will see what hour it is and recognize the importance of these climate agreements and what it means for our future and the future of geoengineering. And there are some real dramatic implications if we don't stop it. But I'm confident that, together we will collectively start taking action. Signing up for the class action lawsuit, go to geoengineeringactionnetwork.org. We're talking to attorneys, don't have any definitively on board with this. However, our idea is collecting names of people. The more names we have, the more power we have to go to a law firm for them to represent us, and I think that's an effective way to move forward. So that's geo-engineeringactionnetwork.org. And in unconventional shade of gray, we need funding angels. We offer $200, $500, and $1,000 opportunities for people to get on board to get this film completed. Again, we're going to take the airplane up, take a sample. That's going to be very important, but really bring this whole issue legislatively and politically out into the open, providing, a clear, concise steps for people to take, and forming a powerful army, a peaceful, nonviolent army that can move forward in taking the right, correct, direct legislative and legal action in moving forward to get these programs stopped. I'm confident that we're going to do it. It's going to take some time, but we are going to move forward with this. So, again, unconventionalgray.com, or go to my Facebook page, which is whatintheworldaretheyspraying.com. You can see the post, which is pinned to the top of the page.
Perfect. Michael, I got to go. I got a second hour coming. Thank you very much. And I will post all the links and on lovegunsfreedom.com so people can directly find you out, okay? Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much for covering this. I really appreciate your time today.
Don't go away, guys. Second hour is coming. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna on KTOX 1340 AM and on United States.FM network.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman.
I'm not afraid.
And a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid.
Italian by birth.
I'm not afraid.
American by choice. Gianluca Zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Gianluca Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
Hey, have you looked at the sky? They're stealing our lives. There's death in the air. I'm not crazy, I swear. Hey, have you looked at the sky? They're stealing our lives. There's death in the air. I'm not crazy, I swear. Google chemtrails. Don't be afraid of the truth. Test your blood for barium and aluminum. Chemtrails, we will prevail. Chemtrails, we will prevail. Chemtrails, we will prevail. Yeah! Hey, have you looked at the sky? They're stealing our lives. There's death in the air. I'm not crazy, I swear. Hey, have you looked at the sky? They're stealing our lives. There's death in the air. I'm not crazy, I swear.
You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna on United States.FM network. Okay, hi guys, this is Lucas Zanna and you're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom on KTOX 1340 AM and also on United States.FM network. Second hour, it's all about guns. Guns, training, deals, everything else. But let me tell you something before I start. This is going to be a very interesting second hour. First of all, I consider this show a very serious matter. As I said many times, it is not for me a hobby or some sort of a fun thing to do. I could do many other things. It's like a commitment. My goal is try to wake up my fellow Americans, and talking about very important issues like, freedom and how to stand up against tyranny. And of course, also we talk about guns. But, one reason why I start to enjoy this show more and more, even sometimes it's kind of hard, a lot of things to process through my brain and my heart. It's like about I'm having the opportunity to meet the most outstanding and most interesting human beings from around the world, okay? Not just from America, but from around the world. And this is very important because it's like almost a part of my journey in this life that give me the opportunity to meet people that probably I would never have the chance to meet. So I'm really thankful. I wanted to be thankful first of you, to you, the listeners that keep me up here, and for the opportunity also to share with you this experience. Now, before we go into the guest, we have a very important guest today. I think it's an amazing story. It's not just about guns. We will talk, of course, also about guns. And if she wants, she can stay with me for the rest of the hour. We will talk about deals on ammo. I always like to shop for you guys, try to find the best deals, some great training ideas, especially with the rifle. And also, of course, we will talk about now the special guest. But before we go there, I received a phone call a couple of days ago from Mr. Hanson, Robert Hanson, is the host in the morning on KTOX on the show called Morning Meltdown with Frank Costigan. And, they were so excited because they wanted to share this with me. They finally figured me out. They know now my sexual orientation. Normally, I don't talk very much about my private life. Nobody really knows what I do, and that's fine. That's the way I like it. Everybody knows that I am a monk anyway. But now, finally, Frank Costigan and Robert Hanson, they think they know my secret. So my sexual orientation, according to them, is that I am an ammo-sexual. So, ammo-sexual. Hopefully I pronounced it right. So that was pretty funny. Tempted to share with you. Anyway, before I get too stupid, let's talk about serious stuff. Today's guest is a very special guest, And, guys, I love guns. But there is one thing I like more than guns. Is a woman with guns. And I'm not really kidding. She's an incredible woman. She's a hard-working person. She loves freedom. She's very smart. And also, she loves guns. So I think this is the perfect package. And that's why I want to share with you, start to get close to the idea that I don't want to talk to guns only to the guys out there. I want to reach out especially for women, people that more important, they understand, they appreciate the importance to self-empowering themselves and be independent. So the gun, it's the tool. And here we go. Let me introduce. I'm having some sort of, let me drink some water because my palpitation is going up. And if you want to know why, I think you should go to the website, lovegunsfreedom.com, and see what am I talking about, because unfortunately on the radio you cannot see the beauty. Her name is Miroslava Espinosa. Miro, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
I hope I introduced you well enough. First of all, nice to meet you, and thank you very much for being on the show here. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Luca, for having me.
And let's talk a little bit because, I like you have an incredible life. And before even we go into guns and what you're doing now, I think it's very important to share your past, your background, because, you are today the result also of your past, your life experience. Tell a little bit about where you're from and some interesting facts happened to you. You almost died a few times. At least you were very close to death a few times. And I call you like a survivor. So you're not just another pretty face, you're also a hard, tough woman. Go ahead. Tell us a little bit about you.
What do you want to know? Specific things about me.
Where you were born. Where you were born.
I was born in Panama, and the jungles, though, the country, in 1975.
Okay, now you gave us also the age. Okay, I didn't want to ask you
I don't mind.
That's okay. So go ahead. What happened there? You were pretty much born in the jungle, like in very rough lifestyle, right?
Yeah, we grew up. I'm the 8th of 12 brothers and sisters, and a very poor family. Panama, you have to understand, Panama, the country, my homeland, is a very, very, it's a third world country, and since I was born and raised in there, my family was very poor, and we're still poor. Nothing has changed except that I move on. I try to pursue better dreams, my dreams, and I'm here, and that's the reason I'm here, because United States, I believe, is the land of the dreams for me.
I understand. I went through. I mean, I wasn't as poor as maybe the environment you were born. Probably I had it pretty easy compared to you. But I understand the feeling. That's why I came to America. That's why I'm fascinated by your story. Now, tell me a little bit about something, because something personal about you. Talk about that on your website. By the way, I would like if you can share your website so people can see you better and can learn more about you.
Yeah, my website is www.thelittleamazonian.com. I also have a fan page, Facebook fan page, where you can follow me and become a fan.
Perfect.
It's at facebook.com/the Little Amazonian. And there you can follow me with my projects and my events that I'm going to be coming up.
Perfect. And now tell me something about it, because what I was, before even we go now in your experience in life in America, you had pretty much a very different background, and you went through some very tough times as a person, as a woman especially. I mean, you were almost killed at least once, right?
That's correct. Luca, I'm writing a book actually about my life, and I'm hoping to inspire many females to become, the best that they can be in this world, because we are not weak anymore. Females, women in this world, they need to be strong. They need to stand up for their rights, and they are somebody, And that's what I'm trying to inspire and show on my book, and trying to accomplish with my biography. That's going to come up soon, hopefully before October.
Perfect. Yeah, I was reading about that. I was very excited, and I was going to ask you anyway about your coming book. And I was reading anyway a little bit about your bio, and I find it important, even before we go into the guns issue, I mean, first of all, you grew up in the country, in Panama, the situation for a citizen, for a regular person. Do you have like a Second Amendment? I mean, you're allowed to have a firearms? How does it work? I have no idea.
Okay. My dad and my brothers, they were around guns and weapons and shotguns and all the stuff. I grew up, around then. But see, my country, we have to be more like separated. It's like women's do the chores, the house chores, dishes, washing clothes, and the males, they do hunting, they do gathering, they going for food and everything. But I wasn't like that. Since I was born, I just want to be rebel. I was a rebel. And I just told my dad that I wanted to, learn. I want to learn what my brothers were doing. I want to go hunt.
Yes.
I want to go fishing. I want to learn. And, my daddy, he was like, no, that's not a culture. You're supposed to stay at home. You're supposed to do the dishes. And I'm just like, no, I'm not. I will always argue with my daddy. I will always but he will always give up. He will always give in and say, okay, you go with your brothers and go learn. And that's how I learned to, spear fishing, hunt. And my daddy and my brothers, they have 2 shotguns that I remember of. They have 12 shotguns. I think it was 12. And they would go hunt, for deers and capybaras, anything. And basically, my brother taught me how to shoot and hunt.
Okay.
And it was fun. At first it was fun, but then it was, getting to dangers of the jungles, when you get encounter with jaguars and snakes and all sort of stuff. I didn't do it. I didn't went to that deep level, on hunting, but I did hunt with my brothers, and I was very good at it. And I did fishing with my brother most of all, and I did most of what my brothers did. Most of all.
Perfect.
Pretty much better than then.
So you had access to at least a shotgun, and this is something I'm trying to understand, because around the world, I come from Italy, for example, and there is not a Second Amendment, like for example in America. The Second Amendment is the right of the people to keep and bear arms, and it's not just for hunting. But in Europe, they give you, at least in Italy and many parts of Europe, all you can get is a shotgun pretty much. It's just for hunting purposes. But my question mostly, I wanted to know, is Panama, as for citizens like also the right to keep and bear arms for self-defense and to defend freedom, like our Second Amendment, or it is like Europe, like Italy?
Like Italy.
Like Italy. So you don't have access to rifle. You cannot buy any rifle like you want. Only the bad guys and the government, I guess, right?
The cops, security and stuff like that in the cities. But in the countryside, we were allowed to use arrows, axes, machetes, anything like that, except firearms. If they will take it away from you if the cops find out that you have a shotgun or any other sort of weapons like that.
Wow, so even a shotgun was kind of, clandestine, a little bit like underground. I understand. Interesting. I'd like to learn this always from other parts of the world, what's going on, especially with the people's rights, Now, where do you live now exactly? Are you in America? I know that. Which part of the America?
I'm already here in Florida, Panama City, Florida.
Perfect. So you still have kind of the same type of, you like that hot weather, I guess. It's kind of...
it's humid, very humid here.
Very humid. Now, tell us a little bit about what's going on with you. You left, of course, Panama. You came to America. I know that you're an American, many years, even a couple of years before me, as a naturalized citizen. And now you have a lot of things, very interesting things that you're doing. Let's talk about rifles, for example, since this is about guns. I know that you have a signature line of rifles.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my own custom signature rifles coming up, and I'm working with this company. Actually, they just sent me their the prototype. I'm going to have to take a look at the prototype soon because they want to get good to go. So they can, this is a company located in Texas, and the founders are very gun enthusiastic and avid hunters. His name is Trade, and I had the pleasure to meet him a few months ago. And they produce 07 manufacturers of firearms, and they work with law enforcement personnel and military personnel, service members as well. So that's the company that's actually want to work with me and create my custom rifle, which I can't wait to see that.
I also like to mention the company, Tactical Arms of Texas, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Perfect. And I saw some of the design that you have. It's kind of amazing. It's like almost the wild animals in the jungle. You got a lot of patterns that are very, very interesting. I like them a lot.
Yeah, it's a secret. It's supposed to be a secret until it comes out.
Okay, very good.
Give it away.
Now, listen, I would like to ask you about that, because you're more than just a gun enthusiast and, of course, a woman with interesting past. You also, you're a model, you're a bodybuilder, at least you're a trainer, and also you compete. Tell us a little bit about your different things you do, because my purpose in the show is to show that people who love guns, we are human beings and we have a lot of interest. It's not like they try always to paint us like, the typical militia guy with a bayonet, using as a toothpick for his ears. By the way, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're a militia guy, you're welcome on this show. But we have people from different spectrum of society, and I love when I see women that understand the importance of the Second Amendment. So tell us a little bit about your other activities. What do you do?
I am a full-time social case worker with the state of Florida.
Okay.
That's my full-time job, and I don't really like to go into details because it's my, I'm a public figure, but that's my private job, life.
Yes.
And I don't really like to talk about it too much. But I'm also I'm a bodybuilder competitor and amateur. I'm not a professional. I wish. I started competing in 2010 after delivering my last baby. She was 10 months old when I stepped on a stage.
Wow.
And I placed 4. And it was my first competition, and I fell in love with it. It's just like an addiction, a good addiction. For me, it was like to keep myself in shape. It was a goal to keep myself in shape.
Wow. For
the rest of my life. It became a lifestyle after
Yes.
that. And I became addicted to competing, and to be in shape and to have an amazing figure. So since 2010, I started competing, and then let me see, on 2013, I unfortunately I crushed my L4 and my L5. And 2012, that was my last competition because I competed with a broken L4 and an L5 and S1. And after that, I haven't competed anymore because I haven't had time. I got involved with so many projects and events, and I got busy, but I still keep myself in shape. I got a certified personal trainer, a certification, and I still work out. I still train people. I still do online training. I still do meal plans and all the stuff that comes with bodybuilding. But I haven't competed, and that's my new goal. I want to compete again soon. Maybe not this year, maybe next year.
Perfect. And, I'm here reading your website, thelittleamazonian.com, and I'm just reading from your profile here. You are like 5 feet tall, and you weigh about 101 pounds, okay? But you can do a squat of 350 pounds. That's pretty amazing, I'm telling you. A lot of strength in those legs you have, okay?
I used to. I'm not anymore. Unfortunately, after I broke my back, I have surgery. They cut my back, and they did a discectomy, partial discectomy, and then a laminectomy as well. And I haven't been able to squat that heavy as used to, but now I'll be going to like 300, around 325, 345 pounds.
I don't even know if I can do that. Okay. But that's amazing anyway. Okay. Guys, go check it out. I think it's an incredible story. I love it. This is, it's about pretty much a human being that is enjoying the spirit of what we're talking about here. It's about love. It's about guns. It's about freedom. So far we've been talking about the idea to now be here, you're in America, and you're trying to do the best you can, improve yourself. By the way, you also have degrees, you studied. It's pretty amazing, from the jungle, your story coming from a place anyway that, you didn't really have all these opportunities. Now you have, tell us a little bit about your degrees.
I got my bachelor's degree with the University of Maryland in 2005. And then after war, 2 years later, 3 years later, I started my my master degree.
Wow.
And I finished it online. All my degrees has been online, which is really hard and very difficult because you had a lot of reading, a lot of writing, a lot of, taking tests without a teacher in front of you. That's very, very difficult. And anybody can say that. Anybody that has taken online classes know how hard it is. So that's what all my degrees, I did it like that online because I didn't have time. I had to be a mother. I had to be a wife, and I had to, I work as well. So that's how I became, I had to do my degrees. I had to do it. And I put myself, I'm like, I got to accomplish that. And I did it. And in 2011, I finished my master's degree in human resources management.
Wow. Now, this is really interesting. Because I tell you, the fact that, it's difficult already for a person that was born here, but I understand the difficulty for somebody like myself, for you, that we came from another place with another language, and to try to improve the education. I think it's kind of amazing, especially when you don't do just that. Like just a student. You also like a mother, take care of business and everything else. So it very much shows your personality. Now, let's talk a little bit more about guns. We got your signature rifle coming on the way, and you got your book that we're talking is already coming. Now, I know that I see you with different photos with guns. But now, question is, what is your favorite handgun that you like to carry in the state of Florida for self-defense?
I have a Glock 17, and I'm also have a 1911. Out of those two, Glock 17 is my CCW, it's my concealed weapon.
Okay.
And it's very sweet. It has a laser hand grip, which I love it because, like I say, I like to cheat sometimes. I don't have to aim. I just point the laser and that's it. But that's my favorite one as of right now. But I'm trying to see if I can get a 1911 custom made just for me. And we'll go from there. I'm working with some companies that want to build me one, so we'll see.
Perfect. This is very good. I like my Glock 17 too, by the way. I've been talking on the show several times. You know, at the end of the day, there are hundreds of guns out there, guys. Whatever you carry, that's fine. Important thing that, you know, something that what I like about the Glock is the simplicity. It's also very reliable. At the end of the day, you know, you are the weapon. You know, I like a gun that is simple, and I don't need to under stress to think about all these different leverage and, you know, safety and stuff. That's why I love the Glock. And I like the 9. Even I could carry, normally I carry also the 40, but I don't know. Especially for a city environment, let's say monster on 2 legs, I think 9 millimeters with training and shot placement, I think it's a great round, especially if you get the right ammunition. Now, tell me about, you know, I always do the questions. I want you to ask me a question or talk about whatever you want to do. I'll give you the floor. I'll shut up.
Okay, when did you come to America?
Okay.
What year?
Okay, I came into America exactly at the end, was the fall, October of 1998. So, and when did you come? So at least we see who came first.
All right, well, let me see. I got married in 1999. I went from Panama, my homeland, to Japan.
Okay, that's not America, really.
And that's not America, but
almost.
We went to an American base.
Okay.
It was a military base.
Oh, that's America then, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So, yes, we were stationed there for 5 years. So I learned a little bit Japanese, and I can have I can write Japanese, but I can speak Japanese.
Wow.
Just a little bit, so. And then from Japan, I came here to United States in 2004.
Wow, interesting. So this is something that pretty much, you know, you came a little bit before me, I guess, right?
Yep, I guess.
So you got seniority here, okay? You're senior. Perfect. Now, I have a question. Since you mentioned marriage, and of course I'm not going to go there too much, but I know you got beautiful family, kids, and everything else. Your mother and grandmother, I heard that. That's very amazing, especially people cannot believe it. After they look at your father, say, wow, she's a grandmother. I still have hard to believe, but...
I'm a grandmother, no biological grandmother, but I adopted my niece when she was 2.5 years old. And my oldest sister, she passed away. And she left 3 kids, and one was 14, the other one was 12, and the last one was 2.5. So after a while, I decided that I want to give my niece a better opportunity for her, because I knew if she was going to stay in my homeland, she wasn't going to be somebody. Wow. So I adopted her. Me and my first ex-husband, you know, we decided to adopt her, and she became my daughter.
Beautiful.
And she was with us. She's 24 years old now, and she has a baby, and he's my grandson. He's almost 3. And that's how I became a grandmother.
That's very nice, very nice. A very nice story. Now, talking about, you know, you're a woman that, part of your role as a woman, as a mother, you stay at home, take care of children. And I read, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's true, you had to really start to stand up and defend your castle from a home invasion by yourself.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about this experience. This is so important because you did not use that. Normally people go for the handgun. You went straight for the rifle in that situation. And hopefully.
Yes, exactly. That was with my past marriage. I was married in my second marriage. And my ex-husband, back in then, he left. My daughter was like 2.5 years old. And we live in a 3-story house. And I just finished working out. I can return home. And around 10:30, 10:45 at night time, I jump in the shower. First I put my baby to sleep in the room, and then I jump in the shower. And around 10:45, while I was in the shower, taking a shower, I heard somebody break into the garage door open. And I was like, my ex wasn't around, and I was just finished talking to him on the phone, so I knew he wasn't coming back. He was away, and I was like, immediately, everything happened so fast. It was just like seconds, and I remember I jumped out of the shower. I didn't grab no towels, nothing. I just jumped bare naked, and I grabbed the AR-15. He had an AR-15. Thank God he had placed it under the bed.
Wow.
And I jumped on the AR-15. I grabbed it. I took a hold of it. I called him up, and I say, somebody's in the house. And I remember he told me, he's like, what do you mean? I said, somebody's in the house. I heard somebody's in the house. Somebody's here. You're not here, right? He said, no. He's like, call 911. And I'm like, okay. He's like, you got the rifle? I say, yes, I have the rifle. And he's like, well, it's double stack. You got plenty ammo. And I'm like, okay, good. So I got the AR-15 around my waist, and I walked to the stairs, and I remember I heard the footsteps downstairs, and I was like, oh my gosh, the adrenaline, fear, everything in, and I remember yelling to the person, I say, you better stop. I have a gun, and I'm not afraid to use it. I'm going to blow your head off.
Wow.
And I heard, footsteps going back and out of the door. And he took off. I called 911, and to make a long story short, the SWAT team came over, and basically this person had cloned the garage door and had got in, and that was really scary because at the moment I grabbed the AR-15 because it was the first gun next to me. I mean, I just jumped out of the shower and went into the survival mode, I guess, and I grabbed the AR-15 because I knew it. It has a laser. He got it all equipped with all these little things, amazing things. He got a laser on it, so he had a laser. It was double stacked, so I could not run out of ammo. If I failed one, if I shoot one, it fails. It was plenty more. So perfect. I know I was going to hurt. I know he was going to die. This
is so important because I'm trying to reach out, especially women that normally they think their husband is the one taking care of with the guns, okay? They say, okay, the husband, whatever you want to do, that's fine. Instead, understand here is so important, the situation, I mean, to be independent, to be able to be also able to defend your family when your husband is not around, And they try to paint these rifles. They call them assault rifles. By the way, there is nothing about assaulting anybody. It's the real assault rifle, by the way, I wish we could have access. They are technically only a rifle that you have the selection switch from semi-auto to full auto. So these are semi-automatic rifles patterned in a way that they're pretty much military pattern with some good things that can help you to handle it better. But they don't make it an assault rifle. They are pretty much semi-automatic rifle. But some very important things, like, for example, to be able to have a magazine that is not limited with 10 rounds or 8 rounds like in New York, but you have 30 rounds that under stress, even a regular person that is in the house naked and maybe doesn't go around with the old, combat kit and gear. You can have 30 rounds available. You know that you are able at least to have a chance against a scumbag without thinking about, oh my gosh, I have only 2 rounds left. And then also, I like the AR-15, especially for a woman out there, because there is no recoil really. It's compact. You have a 16 inches, probably is a M4 carabine, 16 inches barrel with the average, civilian version. And you can pretty much have all these extra little things that are very important, like you were mentioning, like a laser, a little flashlight. So you don't need to have all these, your hands, they're going to be pretty much concentrating on shooting at the bastard. You don't need to think about get the light, get the laser.
That's exactly. That's the idea about my new signature rifles. I want a lightweight for home defense because of what happened to me. I want something that I can hold in one hand, and the other way I can grab the phone and call the police, or I can grab my daughter or my baby boy. I can have one busy hand and the other one, not busy, so I can do stuff with that. So that's the reason it's going to be lightweight.
Perfect. And I would like to say something now about, Vice President Biden, pretty much he thinks to give us advices. First of all, and I'm talking for myself. Whatever I say here is Luca Zanna talking, nobody else. I'm responsible for all my own words. I hope that scumbag hypocrite can listen to me or hear me, because, the guy is surrounded by security guards, by secret services, and blah, blah, blah. And he's trying to tell us peasants, that we must have, all we should have is going to be a nice shotgun, because that's good for us. Let me just play let me see if I can find his audio. It's kind of
Do you believe that banning certain weapons and high-capacity magazines will mean that law-abiding citizens will then become more of a target to criminals, as we will have no way to sufficiently protect ourselves?
Is this Parents Magazine?
It is.
I have Parents Magazine at home. I've never heard anybody in Parents Magazine ask these kinds of questions, but I'm delighted to answer them. First of all, the idea that... Repeat the last part of the question, please.
So she's asking if a ban goes into effect on certain kinds of weapons and high-capacity magazines.
And what's her name?
Kate.
Kate, if you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun, have the shells, a 12-gauge shotgun, and I promise you, as I told my wife, we live in an area that's wooded and somewhat secluded. I said, Jill, if there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony here, or walk out, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts outside the house. I promise you, who's ever coming in is not going to... You don't need an AR-15. It's harder to aim, it's harder to use, and in fact, you don't need 30 rounds to protect yourself.
Oh, my God.
Buy a shotgun.
Okay, Lisa, I want to give you the floor. Remember, we are FCC licensed radio, so you can say everything you want, just use the lingo that we're not going to get sense. So go ahead, and then I'll give my answer to the bastard. Go ahead. What do you think about his statement? You need a shotgun.
It's full of crap. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'm glad that, I feel sorry for his wife if she ever gets in that type of situation like I did.
Yeah, and also I think, I'm not a lawyer here. I'm not trying to give any type of legal advices, but, I can read English and the basic laws in every state. If you start to give warning shots, like you say, I heard that after this advice, somebody went to jail, because you don't shoot in the air just to shoot. You shoot only when you have to defend your life. So please do not listen to Mr. Biden, that, by the way, is an hypocrite, because all his security guards, all his secret services, they have much more than just an AR-15, okay? This is the typical mentality of master talking down to slaves. They pretty much tell us what we can have. Guess what? It's called the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms, Biden, and you can kiss my ass. That's the bottom line, what I'm going to tell you right now, and I think the radio, that should be okay. Now, I'm so excited because, what we're talking about here, it's more than just guns today, but I like also to bring a little bit about training ideas and ammunition deals, So if you want to stay 1 second with me while we're talking about this too, for example, I go around during this week and I look for deals to share with my listeners. And I do this as an act of love. These are not even my sponsors. I like to really find deals that I normally buy, okay? So let me give you, for example, this week there is a good deal on talking about shotguns, okay? On back shots. It's something that, by the way, I don't really suggest for a smaller person that, can be a little bit more aggressive and too much recoil, especially if you're not a little bit, depends on what type of shot shell you use. They are low recoil, but the average shot shell, like right now for the self-defense situation, I'm talking about back shots, 00. There is a great deal out there on Midway USA, on their website. You can get 250 rounds of back shots from the brand called Estate for about $79. I think that's pretty good. I mean, these are almost all prices. Normally, there is a list price for $189, but it's on sale for $79. You don't pay sale tax if you buy from outside the state. So, something to consider. If you have a shotgun, practice with that, because it's not just to make the noise like Mr. Biden says. There is a little bit more recoil, of course, but we need the ammo. You need the shot shell, and I think this week deal from Midway USA is pretty good. Do you have a shotgun yourself, Miroslava?
No, that's my next
project.
That's right. That's my next project. I have a SKS. I have a AK-47 and several rifles. Perfect.
But you like your favorite rifle? We talked before. It's like the carabine M4 type of model carabine, right? Slight.
That's right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You feel comfortable with that, and that's exactly, guys, at the end of the day, whatever gun fits for your body, you are the weapon. The gun is just an extension of your will to survive. So whatever works for you, everybody's different. For example, for your type, I think the M4 carabine is a great choice. Maybe for somebody that has different body type, you can have another gun. But whatever you have, practice with that. Where do you go to practice in Florida? You have a range there? I mean,
yeah, we have a range. We have a couple of ranges in here. There's like one around 20 minutes from here, for where I live right now, and I try to go every weekend or at least twice a month.
Wow,
to practice.
Now,
I'm not an expert. I'm not a firearm expert by any means. I'm just trying to learn as much as I can.
That's good. Me too. I mean, that's exactly the spirit. I call myself a professional student, okay? And but I wanted to make you a surprise to you today, okay? I think you're a great inspiration for all the women out there. First of all, that things in life, not because they were bad, they're going to stay bad. We can make it better. I mean, think about you were born in the jungle. You went through really poverty and tough times. You almost died several times, and you came to America. And now, not only you're achieving your American dream, but also you're able to empower yourself to defend your family with your energy and with your rifle. So, I want to give you a gift today, and that I think it's a very important gift because I want to. Maybe one day we can train together. I don't know, but the idea is: have you ever heard about Front Sight Nevada?
Yes, I think, yeah. They were at the SHOT Show a year ago, I think 2014. I think I saw them at the SHOT Show.
Perfect. Now, I don't endorse any schools here. I talk about all the schools, but one of the way pretty much I've been training the last few years, I had the opportunity to become a Front Sight member. And I'm not trying to sponsor them or endorse them. It's just the way I share the truth. That's the way I train. And I love it because, I'm just 3 hours away from the facility. And I am an ambassador member, okay? So I can go there every time I want. I can do any class I want. But now, as an act of love, for your inspiration and to continue, your training, as you say, you're a student, you want to learn, and there is always something more to learn. I want to give you a great gift with my heart, and you're going to become a member. It's called Legacy Member, a lifetime member from Sight. You can pretty much go there the rest of your life. And you can, without spending any dime, all you have to do is just bring your ammo. And by the way, they also sell ammo that if you want, you don't even need to carry. You can do pretty much all the defensive handgun classes, advanced classes, rifle classes, empty hand defense, and also edge weapons defense. It means knife. So I wanted to give you this as a gift, and I hope, to inspire.
Wow.
Okay, so I hope you're going to enjoy that, okay?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Wow.
Perfect. So, next time you come maybe to SHOT Show, for your business to bring your rifle signature, you can say, you know what, I flew all the way here and let's stay another couple of days and you can do a class. And maybe when you want to take a vacation, you can go back whenever you want, the rest of your life, okay? So that's pretty much. I wanted to thank
amazing.
Thank you. And this is to inspire others. And I want, I would like to have every mother out there, every woman that, with or without children, doesn't matter. Every woman that does not want to be a victim, to train, to start with a handgun, and then upgrade to the rifles. We need every American. We need every person who believes in freedom. And we need, I think, more important, the mothers, because who's going to be the most important part in our success to continue our heritage? The mothers. The mother is going to be the person.
We are.
Yeah,
yes,
you are.
We are.
You're going to teach to your children the values. And if we don't have a mother that's going to be able to teach the heritage and the values, we lost. We're going to be losing. So I think it's so important. You're already there. You're doing your best. But I think every woman out there, try to have an open mind. Maybe you had a bad experience when somebody, I feel so sorry when I see women brought to the range in the wrong way, without the safety tips, without the ear protection, without the eye protection, and maybe the husband is a jerk. And and they say, oh my gosh, I hate guns. I betcha I would hate guns too, But if you go with the right training, with the right person, I think guns going to be like, like you want to be able to change a spare tire in the middle of the desert. You want to have that skill. And maybe you don't want to use every day because maybe you're not the type of person. But at least in case there is an emergency and somebody's breaking into your home, you don't need to just pray for 911 because it's going to be always 3 minutes late. You can start to defend your family. That's why my goal of this show, is not try to reach to the choirs, but to get new people. So what do you think about that?
That's amazing. You're right. That's absolutely right. We need to empower more women, more females, especially because, like you say, we are the force behind our children, and they we need to defend them. Who else? Who else? Especially for single moms, out there. Every single mom, every female should know how to handle that weapon.
Exactly. And, I start with a handgun, I understand, because probably something that if people want to start to carry with you, it's something you can carry easier. In Arizona, for example, I can carry any rifle I want, but it's kind of difficult to carry my AR-15 or AK-47 at Walmart. Even I drag too much attention. So instead, the handgun would be the first tool that I use, and always said, the handgun, you fight your way to the rifle with the handgun, but at least you got something to start. But talking about handgun, by the way, I always try to share different deals. And there is an incredible deal for 9mm, especially for this time for combat rounds, not just regular, training rounds. This is something for good stuff, I call it, okay? At a very, very good price. You can go to SG Ammo, and I also post that on the website, Love Guns Freedom. And they have an incredible deal on 1,000 round case of 9mm Federal, 115 grain, jacketed hollow point. Okay, this is a government contract. This is not just regular stuff. It's a good stuff they use for the government. And you have 1,000 round for $309. That means about $15 a box of 50. That's pretty good. No sale tax, and you pay just $16 for shipping. So something that you want to have a good stock, buy 1,000. I understand money are tough sometimes, but, do some sacrifice. You're going to have 1,000 rounds of this ammo. They're going to go up. Even if you don't shoot them, this is just for, real life. You can train with the cheaper stuff. But we're talking about $15 for a box of defensive ammo. What is your average, what type of brand do you like for your 9mm? Any specific round?
Not really. Right now I'm using, let me see if I have some water here. I have a hollow. Mm-hmm.
I hear clicks.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't use it. Just using the 9mm lugger, so it's the fine.
Okay.
It's the normal one. Yeah, I got the self-defense and the hollow point too.
Anyway, check this out. I thought it was a good. I mean, I like Federal. I thought it was a good price on Federal, especially. You don't need to buy the whole 1,000. You can buy also less. But for $15, a box of 50, their hollow point and their government contract is a good stuff. And something I would like to share. Now, I know many people that have been calling me, look, I have 38 special, and that's fine. If that's what you carry, that's fine. The ammo, they're kind of more expensive, but I found a great deal on 38 special. Full metal jacket, I would just use this for training. It's a company that I like pretty much. They're called Freedom Munitions, and you can get them on freedommunitions.com. And they have an incredible deal, in my opinion, at least much cheaper than what you can buy at Walmart. You can buy a box of 50 rounds of 38 special, 125 grain, for $13.23. $13 for 50 rounds. Now, question. This one, they are remanufactured ammo, but I bought some in 40 caliber, and they have incredible quality. They are really, really well made. Never a problem. So, freedommunitions.com. Check them out. $13, a box of 50 rounds for 38. Do you have any revolver, Miro?
No, but I have shot them before, but no, not right now. No.
You're not into revolver. I mean, I like revolvers, but I tell you, for defense and for training, and more important for real life, I carry always my Glock. And I try to stick with one gun. I have several guns out there. Sometimes once in a while I like to, bring them at the range and let them get some sun and have fun. But the idea, when I train with one gun. And there is one little, I think it's like an expression I heard from somebody. Be careful of the one-man gun, because when you have too many guns, then you start to get confused. Today, for example, you train with, I don't know, you carry your Glock, and the next week you carry your Beretta. We have a problem here. You're going to have different type of mechanism and different type of mechanics. So I like to stick with one gun. That's why, the gun is my Glock pretty much. I don't care which caliber, but I carry with a Glock. Now,
yeah, I'm there with you. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. I like that. I like my Glock 17, and that's the only one that I have with me, and that I train with it.
Perfect. So now listen, I would like to say another thing. I'm talking about, I saw that you also on a site that I'm very proud that I created. I talk about a lot about this, and I remind that this site is not just for dating. It's also to sharing ideas, projects, and people who believe in freedom. So I found you on freedomlovers.us. So I wanted to congratulate you because I think it's very great that you're there, and hopefully you can meet friends and like-minded people that you can share, your book and your ideals. And do you have any type of special event, public event that you will go maybe the next few months where people can see you?
I'm going to be on October 18 in Tampa, Florida. I'm going to have my book. It's a gala book for all the book authors, and it's going to be amazing. But I'm going to have more on my websites and my fan pages as the time coming up. No, right now, at the top of my head, I am just trying to catch up with my work here at home.
Perfect. Are you still there? I think I lost her. Maybe this question was let's see. Let me try to call her back. I'm trying to reach back. Miroslava. Miro, are you there?
Yeah.
I lost you. I thought almost, my question was too personal. Maybe
No.
you hung
I
up
got
on me.
another freaking somebody else call me, so I got interrupted.
No
Sorry.
problem. So let me now give you a real, the show is called Love, Guns, and Freedom, okay? We talk about freedom. We talk a little bit about guns. Now we got to talk about love, okay? You're a incredible lady, and I'm trying to do some sort of a poll this week, okay? For the show, for the final hour, the third hour, I will talk about love, okay? And freedom, of course. And I have this question I brought out today to the public, and I already received a lot of feedback. If you have to choose, would you prefer? You don't have to answer. You can play your fifth, okay? Of course.
Okay.
I like to ask you. Then you say, look, at nothing. I don't want to answer. That's fine. I shut up and we move on. I put some music and I'm going to blush, okay?
Okay.
But this is the question. If you have to choose, would you prefer one night of the best sex of your life or a friendship for a lifetime? Dum dum. Should I put some music here? I'll probably some suspense music like Jeopardy.
Look at you.
You want
You're not right. A friendship for a life.
Let me say one more time. Maybe the listener say, "What did you just say that?" Let me say one more time. I'm talking to this incredible lady that I think everybody should go to Love, Guns, Freedom and check her out. She's a mother, a grandmother, and everything you can imagine. But more important, she's also beautiful. And I have a question. If you have to choose, would you prefer? Question number one night of the best sex for your life, or number two, a friendship for a life? Number two. A friendship for you. Perfect. Okay, that's all I want to know. I'm having a lot of different feedback, and I was kind of interested on Facebook, Women, I was pretty shocked. They go mostly with number one,
Mm-hmm.
And I have now guys that are going for number two. I don't know, maybe let's see how this is going to evolve in the next few days. Okay, listen, I want to really thank you, first of all. This is amazing, and I thank you. And you also inspire me. When I found you on Facebook, I really wanted to do something to try to reach out more and more women, because I think we need more women with guns. That's my point. I really believe that it is for many reasons, as I said. So I would like to find the ladies that who love guns, who like to practice their Second Amendment, and maybe just to ask questions, have them on the show. That's pretty much my goal. Now, I want to give you the floor, and you can talk pretty much about everything you want. If you want to ask questions, or if you want to, whatever you want, I give you the floor. Go ahead.
Let me see.
We are talking with Miroslava Espinosa from Panama City, from Florida. And now she's thinking about what she wants to say before.
Oh, well, actually, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to have me in the show. I really appreciate your friendship, and it's amazing that we have the same, accent, same background, same story. We love guns, and all the stuff. Other than that, just looking forward to my book. I'm focused on my book right now. I'm trying to finish it. We are doing the first draft, and I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. it's going to be amazing. And I'm being a little bit biased because it's my book, but it's an amazing story that I hope that I could get to inspire so many females, so many women out there, you know, because it is what it is, and we need to stand up.
Perfect. And I would like to remind everybody the website. Please, you go to by the way, I will post the link on my website, lovegunsfreedom.com. But if you want to go straight to our website, thelidelamazonian.com.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman.
I'm not afraid.
And a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid.
Italian by birth.
I'm not afraid.
American by choice. Gianluca Zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Gianluca Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
And there we go, guys. This was a very amazing show, a very amazing interview. This is not just about the guns part. Today, what I really was excited about to also know this human story is inspiring, you know, to see a person from another part of the world try to fight. You know, it's a fight. It's a struggle. I really believe life, it's a struggle. The moment that we were born, pretty much we fight for our life. And this is what about also the guns hour. The gun, remember, or the weapon, it is just an extension of yourself, of your soul, of your will to survive. So that's why I'm so amazed, I'm so pleased and thankful for this special guest that we had today. And please, I remind you, you can go to lovegunsfreedom.com and you can also listen to this interview again. I have the archives there. Now, before I go ahead, we're almost at the end. I want to talk today about training. And unfortunately, you know, I didn't really have a time, but I would like to tell you, if you go to today's show, I will post on that page a YouTube about an incredible rifle training that is a system with a laser. It's called laser ammo for a rifle. It's something that you can train marksmanship and also, reactive and close combat rifle shooting in the safety of your home without ammunition, of course, with a couple of tools that I bought, and I am pretty much here ready to share with you, but there is no time today. So I would like to give you just the heads up. Go to lovegunsfreedom.com and look at today's show, the July the 12th, and you will see a YouTube where I pretty much explain to you, and I also show you and demonstrate how you can train. And when now we're talking about training with rifle, I want to remind you, today I wanted to talk exactly about the different stances and train and dry practice. I see so many times when I go to the range, people training with rifle on the bench. And I already talked about that in the past. It's time to start to understand that a bench, it is not for combat, okay? It will be almost impossible in a real life scenario that you're going to be on your deck or maybe on your top of your window, how you bring with you a bench and you engage your adversaries. Doesn't exist that situation. So the basic scenario that I will explore with you and trying to share what I learned on the air and also on my website, lovegunsfreedom.com, is going to be, first of all, the standing position. I divide it in two different parts. Parts going to be one, the marksmanship, another one, the combat standing, okay? Little different. And you can pick both. You can choose both, and you will see the advantages of both. Number one, so standing position with a sling, of course. Then we will look at, first of all, the kneeling position, very fast to move. Of course, not as accurate as the standing, as the sitting or as the prone. Then we will talk about that. Then there is, of course, the squat position, something very good for tactical uses. And then we go into the sitting position, more stable position, of course, of all these above that we just talked. And then we have, from sitting, we go to prone, the most accurate position. Now, once we will pretty much explore all these different positions, shooting position with the rifle, And also, you know, also with the handgun, because technically you could use also this with the handgun, but I will train mostly with the rifle in this situation, or long weapon. Another important thing we will look at that is going to be to do it first slowly. Then we're going to start to use this very interesting tool, this laser ammo training technologies. It's a little, very small, about probably 3 inches, small little target. It's an electronic target that is reactive to laser. And there is another component that you can put in pretty much in the chamber of your rifle. In this case, the AR-15, and you will see how incredible it is to create real training scenarios without ammunition, and it's reactive. And what I like also, you know, once you start to do all these basics technique in a right way, you can start to also set the time constraint. That's what I like about this. So let's say, for example, you put these little targets at 5 yards that you can reproduce, for example, like 100 yards or 50 yards. It's very amazing. And then at that point, you can set the time, and you can see with a beep, you know, how long it takes from a ready position. We will talk also about the different ready positions, how long it takes to engage and to hit the target. Because remember, under fire, in a combat situation, you don't have all the time you want. So you must start to know your presentation time. Meanwhile, you know, my dogs, they're barking here. You know, we're here in the middle of Arizona, and probably there's some coyotes out there. That's great. Maybe I need to go to look outside, and I'll go with my AR-15 to check it out. Now, ready for our number 3. It's going to be about love and also some inspiring guests. It's pretty much about love for freedom, how we can stand up as free human beings. Please do not forget also to support this show. You know, I don't rely on corporate sponsors because I want to be free. I can say whatever I want. So go to zanna.us, www.zanna.us, and with just 99 cents, you can download any of my songs and keep this message always free. Thank you very much. Don't go away. Listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna, ready for our number 3.
You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna on United States.FM network. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna on United States.FM network.
Here we go. Final hour, Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna on KTOX 1340 AM and on United States.FM network. This is very important. Normally, this is the hour that I talk about love or different type of topics that, you know, it's all connected to what we're doing. Because after all, you know, I always said freedom, it's a fruit. It's like a result of love. You must love. You must feel the passion to search freedom. You know, I realize and I learned in my life, you know, that freedom is not a place or a country, but a state of mind. And I don't really care where you are, you know, which part of the world you are. At the end of the day, if you do not stand for your rights, no, it doesn't matter where you are. I remember when I was a little young guy, you know, 19 years old, and I left Italy, and I started my journey around the world, and I was looking for that special place. And the bottom line was, I realized that that island of freedom that it was in my fantasies, you know, doesn't exist anymore, but we must start it to create in our own mind. Today I have the honor and the pleasure to find a young man that is really inspiring to me, because it's like a journey that I'm pretty much starting, and I already started, but I'm continuing towards this goal, to be a free human being. And I found this individual that is incredible, in my opinion. And also I found out that he's going to be a host on KTOX 1340 AM. So this is almost fun, you know, it's great. His name is Ian-Freeman from New Hampshire. Are you there, Ian?
Hi, Luca. Thank you for having me.
Very good, my friend. Listen, I believe that nothing really happens by accident, but we almost somehow, I don't know, I don't want to call it coincidence, destiny, but there is something more that we don't understand sometimes. And the fact that by accident I found your YouTube video that I will play, by the way, during the Pork Fest, and the encounter with two very zealous bureaucrats from the taxes. I don't know exactly what it was IRS or some local tax office. You will tell us more. And listening to the interaction that you had and some other friends and fellow human beings from New Hampshire had with these individuals made me realize how much power we have that they want us to forget, that we just need to start to say no. Anyway, let me shut up and please introduce yourself. Who are you, Ian Freeman?
Well, thank you, Luca. I am Ian Freeman. I'm the host of a radio program called Free Talk Live, which, if all goes smoothly, we should be starting on the 6th of July there on KTOX in the afternoon drive. So that's very exciting.
Excellent.
So that's primarily what I do, but I'm also an activist for liberty. I love the ideas of freedom. I think that you should be free to live your life how you want, so long as you don't harm anybody else in the process. Don't aggress against someone. Don't use coercion or the threat of force to get your way. Don't defraud somebody else. And otherwise, you should be left alone. So that's kind of my philosophy. I'm a voluntarist. I think all human interaction should be consensual. And so I work towards a goal, a society that has that as its viewpoint. And obviously there's a lot of work that I'll need to do to make that happen. So I joined the Free State Project about a decade ago, and I made the move to New Hampshire as part of the Free State Project, which is a movement of over, what will hopefully be 20,000 people who will converge on this one geographic area so we can concentrate ourselves in this one place and therefore have a greater effect on the system, if you will.
Excellent. I've been following this few years ago. I pretty much, I don't say woke up, but started to wake up. It's always a journey, never really stop. About 10 years ago. And I remember that I started to study, it's not like a study book, but for me it was like a study book by Boston Tea Party. I'm sure you're familiar with that. And one was about Wyoming. They were pretty much trying to create in Wyoming the same idea that you have in New Hampshire. And I think this is great. But what I like about the idea that should be created in almost in every county, because the state idea is great. But what if we can even achieve it in our own county, like the county constitutional project? I think that's exactly, in my opinion, what you're doing there. The seed or the antivirus against this tyranny. Because if we can start to take control of one little part of this planet, one piece at a time, we can start to everybody do their same job in their communities. Now, this New Hampshire State Project, started how long ago exactly? 10 years ago about?
More than that, actually. It started in 2001 as just sort of an internet discussion on a Yahoo group a long time ago, and it blossomed into the idea of, hey, let's make this happen. They selected 10 different states based mostly on population. And you mentioned Wyoming. Wyoming was actually the second place state in the vote. And New Hampshire won overwhelmingly, which the vote happened in 2003. And New Hampshire just cleaned the clocks of the other states. It's just the best place to start from. There's already no personal income tax. There's no state sales tax. And there's a lot of reasons. In fact, there's a whole documentary film that was made recently called The 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, which goes over some really persuasive reasons to move to New Hampshire if you're a liberty-minded person, if you're a libertarian or a voluntarist or anarcho-capitalist or whatever your people call themselves these days. But just to go back to your earlier point, Luca, about, why not every county? Why isn't this happening everywhere? Or could this happen everywhere? And it's my opinion that at least at this point in time and for the foreseeable future, this is not going to happen anywhere outside of New Hampshire. There's no movement. I mean, there's Free State Wyoming, but it's basically fizzled out. There's really nothing happening there. There are a number of other sort of Free State Project imitators that have never really gained any significant traction whatsoever. There just aren't enough libertarian types, period. There's not enough of them in the world, let alone in the United States, to have an effect. We're too dispersed, we're too distributed, too spread thin throughout everywhere. And so the idea behind the Free State Project, the true brilliance of it, is to concentrate activism in one place. That way we can have a community of liberty-minded folks who can come to each other's aid in a situation like you saw in the video that I posted over on my blog site, freekeen.com, this week from the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which is a yearly camping festival put on by that Free State Project to sort of show off what is it like to actually be around people who care about freedom. Because most libertarian-minded folk feel very alone where they live. Maybe they've got a friend or two who can sort of appreciate where they're coming from, or if they're really lucky, they have a group of libertarians about 5 or 10 people strong in their area that they can get together with and drink away their sorrows. but they don't really know what it's like to actually live in a community of people who share their values. And that's what the Porcupine Freedom Festival really provides for people for a week, is a taste of what that community could be like 52 weeks a year.
Perfect. Last Sunday I had on the show Alma Summer with Jack Elope, whatever it's called.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. And, we're trying everywhere. I understand. Probably in New Hampshire now you've been working already so hard and you have the numbers down. And I'm curious now because, I may start to look for real estate there now after this conversation. I really like always to find new ideas. But tell me a little bit, first of all. Right now, at this point, you live exactly which town, if I can ask you exactly which?
I'm in Keene, New Hampshire. It's in the southwest corner of the state. It's the sort of the big city, if you want to call it that.
Okay.
It's a city of 25,000 people, so it's actually very small.
Okay.
But it's comfortable enough to have like a, Home Depot, Target, Walmart. It's that size, but it's still small enough to where you can walk across the city and in a half an hour you can bike pretty much anywhere. So it's a real nice mix. I like it.
Okay, beautiful. That sounds very nice. I see a lot of trees and very green. Now, the situation, for example, let's start from the city government. City council, mayor, what is their mind right now? I mean, I know that you're working at the group. The idea of this free state start to work from bottom up, from the city council all the way to the mayor and the county commissioners, and of course, eventually the legislators and the governor. Where are we right now in New Hampshire with that final goal?
We've actually got more than a dozen, actually I think over 15 Free State Project participants, early movers like myself, who are actually elected as state representatives. So that is something the Libertarian Party around the United States has never been able to accomplish in 40 years. And we were able to accomplish it within a decade here of just early movers. I'd like to clarify something. The Free State Project, the goal is to get 20,000 people to sign its statement of intent. And the statement of intent basically says that when the Free State Project reaches 20,000 signers, there'll be a 5-year window of time in which all 20,000 have to make the move to New Hampshire in order to get active in whatever way is most practical for those people to achieve more liberty in our lifetime. So it's really a, not a real specific statement, but the important part is that reaching 20,000. That's the main goal. We've got nearly 17,000 so far. And so everybody who, including myself, who's moved prior to now, are all early movers. So really, the Free State Project hasn't even yet achieved its main goal and hasn't even begun its official move. So everyone here is here early, and we've already had more than a dozen people elected to the state representatives here in New Hampshire as both Republicans and Democrats.
Wow, this is very amazing.
It's incredible success.
I love this. This is a great, really great, not concept, reality. I like it.
This is beyond proof of concept.
Exactly.
This is real. This is happening, and it's only going to get better as hundreds and then thousands more liberty-minded folks move here. It's incredible.
Now, I also want to look at this. Regardless that people say, I'm stuck here and I'm here, maybe I cannot come. The point is, we must help in every way we can that a state like New Hampshire can lead the way in regaining our freedoms and set an example what America used to be. Or what can be again, because at that point, I think can be like some sort of energizer for all the other states to start to, hey, can be done. I understand that we, sometimes there are demographics and there are places and numbers and mass indoctrination hard to fight. But at the same time, we must have hope somewhere and to find a small victory that is also a big victory to regain a state. And when I say regain, sometimes I'm very sad when I see people that they consider themselves conservatives or people that they think they got the Constitution in their brain and they walk around with the Constitution all day long. And they start, if you mention the word libertarian, and by the way, I burned my Republican card and I have no party right now. I realize that I want to just stick to the principle of liberty and freedom and Bill of Rights. But when I talk to people that consider themselves Republicans, and you mention the word libertarian, they associate the idea like, oh my God, these guys that they want to get free joints, they want to smoke, and they don't want to think about it tomorrow. It's so untrue. It's so untrue. I mean, this is probably the true conservatives that I really found out. They are the libertarian spirit-minded. People that don't want to depend on the government, but they want to create their own reality, their own future. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I like to smoke a good joint and think about tomorrow.
That's your right. I mean, the point is, this is my point, because for me the problem is when government becomes some sort of a legislator on morality, that's wrong. Because, you said something very important. I've been trying to articulate even with my accent the last 2 years on the air. The point is I have rights until I do not infringe on other people's rights.
That's right.
If I smoke cyanide, forget about pot, okay? I should be able to smoke, I should be free to smoke a rat poison if I want in the privacy, in the safety of my home. Only condition, I paid for the pot, or I paid for the smoke, or the rat, whatever it is.
That's right.
And when I get sick, I'm not going to ask you to pay for my medical bills. At that condition, if I do not infringe anybody's, I don't endanger anybody else's rights, I think I should really be free to do whatever I want. That's the problem I have with both parties. Because the Democrats, they want to tax you for everything, for a plant. And the Republic, and by the way, they want to tell you how much sugar you can eat, or how much drink you can have, how much salt you can have, or whatever. And the Republicans, they think that they need to put God. By the way, I am a Christian, but I never put my religion, my beliefs, I never try to impose them on somebody else's life. You know, that's the problem that I have with Republicans, people, seriously. You know?
Absolutely. I'm on board with 100% of everything you just said.
So, and this is beautiful because, you know, more I find people like you, I say, yes, I'm not a freak, okay? Because when I go around sometimes...
Well, right. I mean, liberty-minded people feel very alone, right?
Yeah.
You feel like you're the one person in the area who really understands these ideas, and it's frustrating when people around you just don't get it, or they're constantly talking about how they want to control other people. And what they don't understand is that he who desires control over others will only find himself controlled.
Exactly. And now, you know, I really believe this is time for solutions because, you know, normally the first part of the show, I try to bring reality into people's minds. You know, sometimes, most of the times it's very sad. You know, we talk about facts, bills, legislations, you know, local, state, federal, doesn't matter. Every day we are under attack. And then after we finally start to realize that we do not live anymore in the land of the free, home of the brave, I call, you know, land of the free, home of the slaves. Because, and I'm not trying to say, you know, oh my God, if you don't like it, go back to Italy. No, this is my country. I burned my Italian passport and I stick here. And I want to take it back. That's my ideal. But the reality...
Yeah, I'm tired of running. And besides, you know, the only other place you can go in the world is yet another plot of land ruled over by another group of people calling themselves the government.
Exactly.
So, you know, why bother?
And on top, you know, here we had it. For a moment, we had it. You know, somebody's before us, they tried to do the best to create an experiment that even was not perfect. We understand it's still a human experiment. But this republic and the Bill of Rights was something that nowhere in the world was ever created. Now, we lost it on the way. We didn't just lose the last few years. It happened a long process. And now we have like a domesticated masses that don't even remember what we used to be. And that's why I think it's so important to start to, first of all, admit that we are in a problem. Stop waving that Chinese-made American flag on 4th of July and thinking that you're free just because you can have some, you know, cheap barbecue with some cheap beer, okay? The reality is we are slaves now, you know, and I'm sorry. It's hard for me to admit it because I came here with a lot of ideals, you know, America, land of the free, and it's still free. It can still be free because people like you decided that I'm not a slave. And that's for me the most important thing. It starts from your mind. Right? So,
yeah, absolutely.
So I would like to tell you, first of all, ask you a couple of things. You know, I am very interested about this concept of the Shire-Free Church, please.
Okay.
Because you know, almost for fun, a couple of years ago, when I was pulled by police on the highway, DPS, excuse me, I came up with an idea. And at the moment, I thought I was crazy, but it worked out. Maybe I got lucky. And I got pulled out by this DPS, and I didn't have a seat belt. In Arizona, it's not a big deal unless they pull you over for something else. And he asked me, why don't you have a free seat belt? And I said, you know, my guardian angel told me that today I cannot put a seat belt because if I die today, I may get trapped my soul into the car. And he looked at me, what are you talking about? Yes, I am a member of the religion of freedom. And the moment that I put a seat belt, I admitted that the government owns my body, and my God is going to send me to hell. And it's really true on top. You know, why should I, at the point I'm not endangering anybody else, like we were saying before, it is my body, and I know when it's good time or not to put a seatbelt. Now, I also twist a little bit that, you know, my God told me I go to hell. I mean, why not? The guy say, you know what? Okay, have a good day.
Wow.
So I say, you know what? Maybe I'm onto something. So I came back and I put up this religionoffreedom.com with my manifesto, and people thought I was crazy, and that's how pretty much I got on the air here. The former owner of the radio thought I was kind of, I don't know, a freak, so he put me on it. But the point regardless, I really believe that we should exercise our religion of freedom in every way, and this is one of the ways for me for the freedom. Now, I'm very curious about your Shire-Free Church, because I get an exemption and join both churches. Tell me about your church, please. I can't wait to join it.
So I'm one of the ministers of the Shire Free Church, which was formed in New Hampshire.
Okay.
And the reason for the church being formed, it's part of a free church movement in general. The idea of the free churches is that, and the Shire Free Church, by the way, is an interfaith organization. It's not Christian, it's not Muslim, it's not any of those things. You can be all of those or whatever, religion of your preference, so long as you support peace.
Exactly.
So that's the uniting theme between the various different belief systems that fall underneath the Shire Free Church. And another thing that unites the people of the Shire Free Church is their lack of belief in the state. So we see the state as a very dangerous religion out there. I mean, if you look at the state, it has all the trappings of a religion. It has, icons, the flag, for instance. People even worship this particular icon. They'll stand, they'll put their hand over their heart, they'll recite a chant to it. And if you go to the state's courts, they literally have pews that you sit in, very much like a church. There's a man wearing a robe who comes in. He, sits at the front of the room higher up than everyone else. But there's a lot of sort of religious iconography going on there. And it's, to me, it's a religion of evil. I mean, it's a religion that supports violence against our fellow peaceful man. And so, there are a lot of churches these days who, for lack of a better term, could be called state churches, meaning that these religions, when they form their church, they ask the state for permission to do it.
Yes.
They go to the state and they say, we want to make a church. How do we do it? And then, the state, of course, comes up with different forms for them to fill out and, fees to pay. And then they feel like they've finally done it. They're legally a church. And the free church movement says, screw all that. Let's just have our church. Let's make a church and not ask anyone for permission and not ask the state for any kind of privileges or anything like that. And so that's the idea behind the Shire Free Church, is to have a state-free church where people who love freedom and peace can come together to worship and to extend their knowledge and to converse with one another about their different beliefs and to have a safe place where people can do that, where they won't feel like they have to also worship the state in order to be part of a church. I hope that makes sense.
I think we may have maybe some parent in common. I don't know, maybe a father or a mother from another mother. We are really much, I can't believe it. What I'm hearing is just unbelievable. And I want everybody to go to your website, please, because this is, and sometimes people think, this guy sounds crazy. You know what? At the beginning, a lot of thought they were crazy. The point is we must have an open mind and start to realize the reality we're living today, just because we've been fed and trained and pretty much programmed to think that this is the only reality, like the concept of license. The license for everything. The license to have a well, to drink water, a license to eat, a license to marry. I mean, what the heck? Licenses are for slaves, guys.
Sure. Well, remember, if you have to ask permission, you don't have a right.
Exactly.
The definition of a right is or one of the hallmarks of a right is the fact that you can exercise it without asking for permission. And if you're asking for permission, you don't have the right. You've essentially turned your right into a privilege by asking for permission.
Exactly. And this is the point. We have one basic rule. Whatever I'm doing right now, I want to be sure that nobody else will be somehow, paying the consequences. For example, I'm talking about with our with our county commissioners, at least some of them, trying to put a concept. We live in a very rural area. Everybody got at least a few acres, or at least, we don't build on top of each other. And when at the point I have the land that is paid clear, there is no banking, no loans, nothing like that. And there is nobody really that if I build the roof upside down is going to say, wow, what did you do? No, it's going to be my head is going to pay the consequences. Why should I ask a mandatory permit for building? When I meet this condition that pretty much is my land, or at least supposed to be mine because I still pay property taxes, but that's another story. But the point is nobody else is going to pay the dangers of some wrong code building, Should be something, at least not mandatory. At least could be done. And that's why I'm really looking forward to see New Hampshire how it's going to move, even in these small but very big issues for me. Like, for example, the idea, a dog permit, a license for the dog.
Man.
I mean, for me, they're very important battles. When you start to remove these licenses for a dog on your property, it means you already started to do something, You got license for your dog right now in New Hampshire or your community where you live?
There is a state law that allows towns to have dog licensing, so I'm against that happening, and so I am not interested in acquiring one of those for any animals that I have.
Yeah, and I agree with you, but the point is, you need to have enough community out there. And now we'll go to the point, because you can be an individual and great, you stand your line. But the point is, these are like a pack of coyotes, okay? I saw the behavior of those two bureaucrats for the tax department of New Hampshire, whatever they were, when they came into your camp. And then they start to see that it's not just you by yourself standing for your rights, but there is a mom, pop, young, older, doesn't matter. All together, as individuals, they start to realize that the little, I call them thugs actions, at least the bullies. Normally they act like a bully when they get you 2 against 1. But when they start to see, and you were peaceful, you were great. You got video camera and you express your First Amendment. Just speaking up for your First Amendment with the video camera as a witness to show how wrong they are in their actions. You show that we got so much power that they're so afraid that the moment that we wake up all together, or even just 20% of us, it's over.
You're absolutely right about that. They're cowards at their core, and they're used to getting away with what they get away with basically under the cover of night because people won't stand up for themselves. Mm-hmm. They won't record video of their interactions with them, and once people start to do that, it makes them very nervous, and they don't like it. And they should be nervous and they should be uncomfortable because what they're doing is wrong. They're threatening peaceful people. You're talking about these 2 bureaucrats from the Department of Revenue in New Hampshire coming and threatening the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which has been going on. This was its 12th year, where people will come out and they'll set up shop. It's on a campground in northern New Hampshire. It's a yearly camping festival put on by the Free State Project. Mm-hmm. They will set up and they'll vend whatever. They'll sell T-shirts, they'll sell pipes, they'll sell whatever it is they got. But some of them are selling food. Now, in New Hampshire, there's no sales tax, but there is one on prepared food. So that's why they had come there. They wanted to threaten all of the food vendors into getting some sort of sales tax permission slip or whatever it is that they would want from them. But I interdicted them before they got to, basically right before they got to the first site. They never got farther than that because, as you described, a group of people started to gather around and basically shout them out of the park.
Question, is the park private?
It is privately owned. So that was, I think, helpful in that situation because the park owner was able to sort of call them away and tell them to get lost. He did agree to hand out their paperwork, but ultimately didn't do a very good job of it. So I talked to some of the vendors later on, and 2 of the vendors said he never even came by to hand out the paperwork. One of the vendors said when he told the park owner that he was fine with taxes, or fine with his taxes, that the park owner did not hand him the paperwork. So needless to say, the owner of the park did a much worse job handing out the paperwork than the government bureaucrats would have done. So overall, it was a success. Nobody signed up to pay taxes this week. There were a couple of vendors there who are kind of like vending pros who go to a bunch of state fairs and things. They've got their taxes. They do that. But most of the food vendors there probably are completely untaxed, and they aren't interested in getting taxes. When I talked to one of them, he said he would throw the paper in the campfire.
Wow. Now, this is so important because sometimes, I hear people that fortunately, they still don't get the rest of the information, and I call them living in the matrix still. They think, you don't want to pay your fair share. You must be an anarchist. Wait a second. You realize that under King George, we paid probably, I don't even remember how much, but it was a minor fraction of what we pay now in taxes. And now we are so brainwashed, on top. Let's forget about the income tax at federal level, that there is a story just about that. And all I say always a keyword. Watch the DVD, the documentary, American From Freedom to Fascism. That's
a good movie.
Yeah, that's incredible. That was one of the things that really gave me the chance to start to learn things. But the point, even at local level, guys, you're on local property. It's going to be private property. You are pretty much among people that they decide to share and trade, and they are like private transactions, okay? And like tomorrow I come to your place, hey, can you give me something? And it's like a private business, seriously. And the point is, you don't do anything bad to anybody else out there. You mind your business, and you see the government, what they want, like the mafia. I think they're worse than the mafia, because at least the mafia, you have the legal authority to shoot and defend yourself.
That's true.
Instead, unfortunately, you know very well that you can't do that, because, or at least you should not do that, because no matter what you do it, they're going to smash you, okay? So it's like you're fighting the mafia with the handcuffs. That's the story. But the point is, think about it. King George III. We're talking about, there were about few taxes, little bit of tax on tea, paper, sugar, and some certain imports. Now, under this constitutional republic, pretty much we go from 2.5% under King George to between 30 to 40%. And that's just the beginning, okay? Think about it, how much we've been brainwashed. And pretty much, it's like, slowly, like the frog, we've been cooked. Now, I think we're really roasted more than cooked. But the point is, I will play, by the way, this YouTube. And I also
before you do that, remember, I do use the S word at one point during that. I'm sorry I did that.
No problem. No, you did great. Listen, you were very contained, and of course I will edit it for the FCC rules. But the point is, I will post it on lovegunsfreedom.com on today's show. I want everybody to watch this, because it is very inspiring, and I really believe this is the key. This is the key. We don't need to be violent, but we do not need to be afraid. The fact that we stand up for our rights, I don't care if you're alone, but with people it's always better. Video camera is your best weapon. I always say the most dangerous weapon against tyranny, to put on record what's going on.
Yes.
And that's the spirit that we are not your slaves. Stop coming here and bossing us around like we are your brothers or sisters. We don't know you, seriously. So I think it's amazing, and I'm really excited that you're going to be on KTOX the next few days and starting the show to start to spread this concept that is so vital. It's like a virus, but it's a good virus to stop tyranny. That's pretty much the idea. Now, I want to give you the floor, because I sometimes attack too much. Whatever you want to say, Ian.
Oh man, well, I'm not here to preach. I got nothing. I don't have an agenda. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions. This is my life. This is what I do. Like I said, I host a radio show. I'm the blogger at one of the bloggers at freekeen.com. So if your listeners really like this video, they like the audio, they can check out the video itself over at freekeen.com and a bunch of other stuff. I mean, we've got a lot going on out here, and Freekeen only kind of scratches the surface of it. I would like to invite further anybody out there who agrees with you and I to check out the Free State Project at freestateproject.org. California is a beautiful place, no doubt about it, but New Hampshire is also very beautiful and has a much smaller government and is a much better place to start a movement for more freedom in our lifetime.
Let me tell you, California sucks. Okay, simple as that in every way. And I am in Arizona. This is
are you?
I'm broadcasting through the river. I mean, from the river. Okay, and I'm sorry for my fellows, Americans in California that they believe in freedom. They feel bad and oppressed. But at this point, I really believe, guys, it's time to pack. And the best thing you can do, come to Arizona. But if you want to go all the way, go straight to New Hampshire. But you need to, at that point, I really believe sometimes like a cancer, you got to cut it off, okay? And California, there is a point that I don't know how much you want to consume or waste the rest of your life. Try to fight something that I don't think is going to be fixed in this lifetime, my opinion. Even I always have hope, but I think it's too deep, the cancer of statism in California. I mean, this is out of control. Now, question about New Hampshire, just to get some into guns. The show is called Love, Guns, and Freedom. And, of course, I really believe, and all my listeners understand, at least most of them understand, that a very component as a free human being is pretty much be armed. This is happened in history. Every civilization, the first thing the masters did, disarms the slaves. Now, New Hampshire gun laws, I know they're pretty good, but probably you can give us more details. What's going on there?
Yeah, New Hampshire is really good for gun freedom. I mean, if you want to strap a AK-47 to your back and walk down Main Street, you will be completely legal as long as you're not a felon in New Hampshire. New Hampshire also, not only does it have great gun freedoms, it's not the freest. There's probably a couple other places that are a little more free. Vermont and Alaska
Arizona,
are a little
number
more
one.
free.
Arizona was number one 2 years in a row on this one.
Was it?
We got it down. Yes, on guns and ammo, 2 years in a row we've been number one. We have different things like the constitutional carry the last few years. But the point is, listen, New Hampshire sounds very good too. Compare especially in that.
Knives are also legal in New Hampshire. So that was actually one of the changes made by a Free State Project participant who got elected to state rep. Jen Coffey was one of the earliest. She put forth a bill that actually legalized possession of all types of knives. So, switchblade, whatever kind of knife you might want that might be illegal in a lot of places, it's legal in New Hampshire.
Perfect. So this is a great thing. What's about property taxes there? I mean, since you don't
they're bad. They're pretty high, but that's because New Hampshire also doesn't have a state income tax. It doesn't have a state sales tax.
Okay.
So they definitely try to make up some of the difference with property tax there.
I understand.
But nonetheless, they're still low. They're still lower than like New York State and other places.
Oh gosh, that's for sure. I'm sure. Now the only thing I'm concerned, and don't get me wrong, I think you're doing a great job there. You are pretty much like an island, like the Alamo, surrounded by all the hordes of these states like New Jersey, New York, Maryland, whatever. Are people from these other states that they come? You think there may be an infiltration of the wrong type of people coming to New Hampshire, maybe?
Well, that's a common concern about New Hampshire. But, if you look at New Hampshire and its freedom compared to the surrounding states, it has held very, very strong against whatever influx. And certainly there are people who will move up from Massachusetts because they want more freedom, but then they bring their Massachusetts ideas of statism with them and try to influence things in that direction. So that's something that does exist. But you also have to remember the average person who moves across a border isn't necessarily an activist. And we've got in New Hampshire, the Free State Project now with over 17,000 people signed up, with over 1,700 people who are here now as early movers. We've got a movement of people who are coming here for the purpose of achieving more liberty in our lifetime. And, already at this point, we probably have more activists than the Republicans and Democrats.
Wow.
And it's only going to get better over time as more people move here. And then eventually I think what you'll see happening is there will be an effect of pushing out the status because it'll just become so uncomfortable. Think about how uncomfortable those guys were at the Freedom Festival.
Yes.
Imagine that happening more and more and more often. It'll eventually become very, very frustrating to be a government bureaucrat around here, and they'll say to themselves, I could go to Massachusetts or New York or Vermont where I could get the same job and probably get paid more and not have to deal with all these crazy free staters.
You're right. I think it's great. Lista, congratulations. And again, what is the name of the show you're going to be on KTOX? Can you say again the name of the show and the time?
My show is called Free Talk Live, and it's going to be in afternoons from 4 to 7. So we'll be taking it home the drive time there. And it's a live show, so you'll be able to call in. You can bring up anything. It's an open phones discussion. Another thing, though, just to briefly add to what I was saying before, you compare Arizona to New Hampshire and compare population, and it's a huge difference, right? New Hampshire has 1.4 million people. There's almost no one here. And so when you have 20,000 people move to a state with 1.4 million as opposed to, I don't know what Arizona is off the top of my head, but let's say 15
now, I guess.
Yeah. But there's a lot of people there. You're going to have a greater effect per person that moves to New Hampshire. Your effect is larger. Plus, in New Hampshire, there's already the live free or die mentality. People up here are very, very independent-minded and very libertarian just by their nature. So it really is the best place for liberty.
Perfect. And I will play, since we just talked, you just mentioned the word, one of the things I do for a living, I write songs, and I'll play for you, and I'll dedicate to you and all the, I call them the free human beings from New Hampshire, that they really treasure freedom, live free or die, a song I wrote a few years ago when I was not yet a naturalized American. I was in the middle of my process, and I want to dedicate this song to you. Lista, thank you very much, and you're an inspiration, and I hope to be in touch with you, and I will follow everything you're doing down there, okay? And
Luca, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
And I'm a look for real estate today, right now, in New Hampshire. Bye-bye. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. This is Luca Zanna, and this is Live Free or Die. Stay tuned. Don't go away.
Die. fight for. You'll only have rights if you're not afraid to die. You only have rights if you live free or die. Live free or die. This is your life. This is your life. This is your time. It's your time. Live with pride. Live free or die. This is your life. This is your life. This is your time. This is your time. Live with pride. Live free or die. This is your life. This is your life. This is your time. Live with pride. Live free or die. This is your life. This is your life. This is your time. They can break us, but they'll never bend us. They can kill us, but they'll never conquer us.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
What are your names?
Oh, my name's Philip Lawrence.
Philip.
Yes.
And yours?
Ray.
Ray?
Yeah.
Ray who?
First singer.
And where are you guys from?
Department of Revenue.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
That's the New Hampshire Department of Taxation.
Yeah. So what are you doing here?
Well, the meals and rentals compliance, making sure everyone's licensed to sell food.
Why would you want to do that?
Well, because they have to charge the meals and rentals tax.
Or else what?
What's that?
Or else what?
Or else they'll be non-compliant.
What does that mean? What do you do?
Well, we'll go back to the department and decide what to...
Are you going to call some police? Some men with guns?
Not today.
But later you will, right?
Probably not.
Oh, really? So if somebody isn't paying taxes, you'll just leave them alone?
No, we're going to try to license them.
Okay, but if they say, I don't want your license, if they say, I don't want your license, what are you going to do?
Well, I'll go to the next site.
Oh, okay. And then what?
Then I'll go to the site after that.
Okay, so you're saying you're pledging you're going to leave people alone who don't have a license?
I'm going to go back to the office, as I said.
And then what?
And then what?
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about what...
Who's we?
The commissioner, myself, other people.
And what would the options be that would be on the table?
If you read the statute, you'll see.
I don't really care what your statutes say. I'm asking you, what are the options on the table for someone who doesn't have one of your permits?
Well, we can stop serving food.
Or else what?
Or else we'll, as I said, I'll go back to the office and we'll talk.
Okay. You're just avoiding saying what's going to really happen, right? You're going to call men with guns to threaten that person, aren't you?
No.
Someone else will call them, right? It's not your job?
We're with the Department of Revenue. We don't call people with
Yeah,
guns.
looks like you're here to make trouble. And I'd like to say I don't appreciate it.
Well,
please go home.
Everyone, we treat everyone equal.
Yeah, you treat them like you own them. Who do you people think you are?
We're just trying to protect the citizens' rights.
I don't need your protection. I feel fine. I don't feel like I'm threatened by anyone here.
I'm gonna end this, okay?
No, you're not going to end anything. It's just starting, dude. It's just starting.
Okay.
You totally showed up to the wrong campground.
Is there somebody here who has an issue with what somebody else is doing? I mean, why
Hey,
exactly
gentlemen?
is it that you're here?
No,
You guys can't actually be here.
Why can't we? Pardon me?
You need to talk about it.
It's the Carefield's property. Here we go.
Sir?
You have a meal
Excuse me,
tax
sir.
license.
Excuse me? Excuse me, sir. I just let you through. Excuse me, sir. I just let you through. Sir!
Sir, you're being very rude. You've got two women trying to talk to you here.
I just let you through. I just let you through. And my boss needs to talk. Am I ready?
I don't
Sorry.
talking.
No, it's okay. Sorry, thank you.
We got trouble. Multiple bureaucrats are on the scene here. We're in Agora.
And you're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna. Well, what can I say, guys? I mean, what you heard, this is pretty much was YouTube of Ian-Freeman, interacting with other like-minded people at this festival there in New Hampshire. And, I start to see critics says, oh, we gotta pay taxes. Oh, we gotta have licenses. You know what? We'll say we have. You want to have the license? Fine, go ahead. I don't think this is nothing wrong here. More important, we've been so, brainwashed and so domesticated. Think about all these taxes that we pay since the moment that we wake up in the morning and you go to sleep at night. I mean, I said before during the show, our founding fathers, they started a revolution and they were paid like what? 5% or whatever to the crown. We are paying a tax after tax. We are so pretty much now, we lost the reality of what's really going on. We are no more free human beings. I completely understand one thing. If somebody taxes you 100%, well, how would you call yourself? A slave, right? Okay. If somebody taxes you 50%, what are you? Half slave. Yes, we are for sure partially slaves. Now, this specific situation in New Hampshire, for me, why is so important? Because first of all, this is a place of like-minded people, a private place. People want to stay in peace by themselves. And you go into the place, you pretty much, you know what you're looking for, you know what you're finding, okay? So it's not like I need to defend the public, okay? If I want a permit to keep you safe, guess what? That's the wrong place. People go there, they want to stay the way they want to. But more important, what I learned about this lesson, it's millions of us, millions. And these bureaucrats, these people that normally gravitate around these jobs, they are control freaks, seriously. And even if you believe that, taxes is good and, arresting people because they don't have a license is good, you're still a control freak. Because there's many other jobs you could do in life, okay? You must really enjoy it. You must be some special type of breed to go that type of job. But more important, think about it. This is for me the example how a free human being start to act, interact to public servants. And, these people, they weren't, violent. They wouldn't try anything bad. They were just talking like you talk to a regular person that is trying to invade your privacy and invade your space. So that's for me what's so important. When we realize how much power we have, just speaking, just standing up, and then we realize, first of all, it's millions of us, all we have to do is start to activate as individuals, and then uniting together. This game is over. It's a big show. Anyway, this was pretty much the situation. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna. Before I ran too much, let's talk about other things. This is the hour about love, and today I wanted to share with you a little recipe. But before we go ahead, I want to remind you one thing. Differently from government that pretty much uses the power of coercion and extortion to get your money, here it's a free market, okay? You see, the radio station that broadcasts this show, it's on the air because sponsors pay for it. And I really pray that you can support the sponsors, that you appreciate this free, independent information that we can give it to you. And also myself, because the radio show that I produce is completely independent, and I'm here as an act of love, as I said. This is not something that I'm making money or I'm doing this for money. This is exactly, I could do so many other things, even stay home and shooting my gun. I would be probably more productive. But I love to do this because I think it is important. I think it's a mission to try to wake up my fellow Americans and learn from each other. Don't forget, I'm not here to teach you, but I'm here to learn from each other, from my guests and also from my listeners. So that's pretty much, I want to unite together as a free human beings, free Americans, to try to stop this tyranny. Now, to support this show is very simple, okay? You don't need to be rich. All you need to do at least have 99 cents. If I'm not worth 99 cents, just turn it off. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to be sad. I'm still going to pay my bills no matter what. But if you want to support the show, all you got to do is go to one of my websites. For example, One is very hot. I like it. There is a new items there. It's called Zanna, Z-A-N-N-A, art, A-R-T, zannaart.com. And you can there, for example, first of all, download any of my songs. I got more than 100 songs that I wrote and published and produced. Directly download for 99 cents. Doing that, buy a couple songs or buy a CD, you can help the show immensely. Then also another thing, I have also now a line of postcards I'm creating. You can see some postcards are reproductions of my paintings. You can see the paintings, maybe the paintings you don't want a painting, but you can get a postcard. And with the postcard, you also get free shipping and you also get a digital download for free. And the postcard is about $6.99, okay? By the way, my postcards are not the typical postcards you can buy at the shop. It's not the souvenir postcards. Go check them out, and you will see what type of postcards I'm talking about. Some they are reproductions of my paintings. Some they are just me, in my daily life in Arizona, exercising my Second Amendment or just having some little fun. So pretty much that's the situation. Now, second hour we talked about guns, but I would like to talk much more in details on my website, lovegunsfreedom.com. Don't forget to go there. I will start to post some YouTube videos about very interesting techniques to train at home. So don't forget that. Now, very important, something that I need to talk with you always. It's about freedomlovers.us. There is an incredible new guest as a member. I remind you that freedomlovers.us, it's 100% free. Okay, so there is no credit card, nothing. It's the first free dating site, okay, for freedom-loving singles from around the world. But also if you are not a single, you're already married or committed, you can be there, I mean, look at me. I'm a monk. I'm there, okay? So I'm not even looking for anything, but I'm there. I'm there to find friends and network. And you can go there also to share ideas, business. You can write a blog. You can open a classified section and sell stuff, whatever you want. Just be legal, okay? That's what I'm saying. So it's a place for like-minded people. It's free. We have an incredible new member that should just join. And it's my guest, the guest that we had today during the second hour. I think it's amazing, Miroslava from Florida, incredible lady. And believe it or not, she's a single, as much as she's really good looking and smart and all these things, but she's just going through a divorce. So go there, go check her out. Maybe you can be a friend with her, maybe just say hi. Okay, so go to freedomlovers.us and find friends and find like-minded people. So that's pretty much what I was saying. Now, a little recipe for today, quick recipe. I've been doing lately this new diet that I want to try. I have an open mind. Normally I love pasta and I eat Italian way, even of course maybe a little different from the Italian because I don't like very much red meat. I don't like pork and stuff like that. But regardless, I like pasta. Now I wanted to try something different. My mother told me a couple of months ago about this diet. It's the blood type diet. Blood type diet. And go check it out. Google it. I'm not going to go into details. But I saw the great results that my mother went through. And the reason why I wanted to try it, because I really believe that, first of all, I have an open mind on everything. And I see my mother that she was very sick a few months before. And after not even a month on this diet, she got better. And she also stopped taking any medication. I'm very healthy normally. I don't take any medications, but I thought maybe I can be better. So I tried this diet, and the bottom line is every one of us is different type of blood type. And according to our blood type, you can eat some food, and some food, they're not good. Unfortunately, for my blood type, one of the things that I really like the most, it's pasta. And of course, that's very bad for me on the grain type. I cannot get those. But still, I want to have an open mind. And I started it with some limitations, of course. I still take my coffee. At least take 3 espressos a day. So I didn't give up on the espresso. But I tried to do for a month, pretty much limiting all the other things that I cannot do. Like, for example, pasta. But I can get rice. I can eat rice. So I created some very easy recipe. And by the way, I feel pretty good. I must admit it. Without even working out, I've been so busy the last month, I have no time even to jog the way I wish, but I feel I'm losing weight and I'm pretty alert and pretty energetic, not bad at all. So I still want to have an open mind. And once in a while I get some pasta, maybe Sunday. But so far I have now trying to test new recipes without pasta, at least for another month. So the recipes that I have now, the recipe I have today, it's called rice. It's a hurry up rice. Hurry up rice, I made up this recipe. It's very simple. Normally when I come back from the shooting range, I need something to cook quickly and easy, light, and I want to use the ingredients I can use for my blood type. So pretty much what I found, I did some organic brown rice made in the US. I don't get it from China. You get about 2 cups. I say 3, normally 3 cups. I need to eat a little bit. So 3 cups of rice. You get a big pan, a little higher, not a pot. You got like this tall pan, okay? You want to cook the rice almost spread out. So you put some water and you put the 3 cups of rice. Then you start to pretty much cook the rice like normal you could cook it. Just be sure it's al dente, okay? Now, after that, what do? You need to have at least 2 beautiful organic zucchinis and 1 organic onion. I always stress the word organic. People say, whatever. Whatever is fine. If you want to eat GMO crap, go ahead, help yourself. I try to grow my own vegetables, or I try to buy organic. And I try to also buy U.S. produce, not because I have any problem with Mexico, but unfortunately, sewer water, at least you have a little more control in the U.S. to see what type of water they use. Most of the vegetables, unfortunately, coming from Mexico, they were pretty much, they gave us a lot of problem lately. But regardless, so 2 zucchinis, 1 beautiful organic onion. You grill them. If you have the electric grill, that's the way to go. Otherwise, just grill them on a pan, okay? So simple. Listen, you cook the rice in about 20 minutes. At that point, let it sit. You grill these vegetables. So simple. You got it. So you got it right there. When you grill, put some extra virgin olive oil, so they also fry a little bit. And then, of course, you add a little salt, okay? I like sea salt. At that point, you have 2 different ingredients. You have the vegetables grilled on the side, the grilled vegetables, and you have the rice. What do? At that point, once the rice is done, you pour these vegetables and you put them inside the rice. So simple, so simple. Now, the final touch, because, you want to have also some proteins, I get a couple of boiled eggs and I sprinkle them around inside and mix them all together. It may be no Italian gourmet, I understand. This is, I said, I call it hurry up rice. But guess what? It's incredible flavor. It's healthy. And if you are blood type like mine, group 0, you also have pretty much all the food that fits for your blood type. And you don't feel bloated. I mean, you feel like great, affordable, and I think it's very good. So something to consider. So simple, very simple. Anyway, this is pretty much was the little recipe of the day. Now I have a little song. I've been performing, I've been having fun with my serenades. And I have a song that I'll play at the end of the show. We're almost at the end. I want to remind you that next Sunday is going to be an incredible show. We're going to have a lot of information about this whole situation with the gay marriage, and we have a pastor. I have a second hour, an incredible professional shooter, He's a gay too. He's a gay man. And we will talk about, gay rights and gun rights and training, incredible stuff. So that's the idea of the show, is not to separate us, but to unite us. Now, I want to leave you with the one phrase before pretty much we go to the song. With democracy, there is no freedom, but just a legalized theft of our individual rights and property, where a coward group of people hides behind the violent arm of the government to tell you how to live your life and how much of your money you can keep. Luca Zanna. Thank you for listening, and talk to you next Sunday, God's willing.
Qui dove il mare luccica e tira forte il vento su una vecchia terrazza di fronte al colpo di Sorrento, un uomo abbraccia
aveva pianto, poi si schiarisce la voce e ricomincia il canto. Te voglio bene assai, ma tanto bene sai, è una catena ormai che scioglie il sangue